Hello everyone, welcome to the live stream. I'm Mod West. Apologies, this isn't... Oh, I forgot to mute it. I'm not Mod G, I apologise for that. I know the chat really wants me to be there. So what we're working on today is a little design stream. It's going to be slightly collaborative. I'm going to get some straw polls thrown into the chat. And we're going to get and you're going to sort of guide where I'm going to go. So we've got 3 straw polls of 3 questions. So the first one is sort of setting the biome, and the second one's structure, and the final one is character. So what I'm going to be doing is moving over to the main one for a second. There we go, I'm in the map header. So this is Lumbridge. I'm sure you've all seen Lumbridge before. I'm just going to check the chat quickly while I do this. I've got some mod handsome. Okay, cool. I like the chat. The chat's good. Okay, so I'm going to be essentially just making a small little environment. Let's get my file set up, ready for that. New file. There we go. We've got ourselves an empty map square, and I'm just going to ask Mod Sween a question over here. Just getting to put the first straw poll in. Cool. So that would be the first one's going to be about the biomes. So the 3 options are going to be the north. So things are think Arctic. Actually, let's use what it actually says in in the straw poll. So the first one is Arctic. So we got Releka, Wilderness, and Trollheim as the first option. Second option is woodlands. So think Mistalin, Asgarnia, and Kandarin. And then finally we got tropical, which is think Karamja, Caridian Desert, Filled Hills, stuff like that. So once we've got that done, we then move on to the second one for structure. So between a hamlet, so a small collection of buildings, a fort, a medium-sized building, and oh, my mic's a tad too loud. I'll get to that in a second. Let me just. So I'm sort of in control of everything, which is a first for me. So we'll see how this goes. Dropping it down a little bit. Hopefully that's making a difference. Not too much. Okay, cool. So then we have a fort, a medium-sized castle, and then finally a hermit, so sort of like a single large building for the environment. And then the final question will be to do with what sort of characters you want there. So we're going to go with either holy, neutral, or evil. So we're looking at making either a Saradominus-themed area, a Guthix-themed one, or a Zamorak one. And hopefully this ties in quite nicely to the structures and the biomes. I'm going to be doing some thinking on my feet, but it should all be good. So I'm going to be looking at the results. Okay, so I'm looking at the results for the biome one. Looks like Arctic is winning at the moment. So we're looking more likely to make something Viking, Releka, maybe add a bit of wilderness theme to it, and maybe some Trollheim mountains into it. Woodlands is a close second, and tropical is unfortunately losing. I was expecting to make a tropical place. I was hoping, you know, given the current situation, it would be nice to make a nice sunny area, but if we're going to go to a nice cold desolate wasteland, that's cool. That fits with the theme of Deadman. Cool. So while these are coming in, if I can just get Mod Sween to do the second one as well, I'm going to just do a brief overview of the map editor. So I'm sure all of you know where we are here. This is Lumbridge. So I'm just going to flick between the bottom floor and the top floor so you can see all the floors. There we go. But as you can see, I've also got an editor on the left here. So if you've seen a map editor design stream before, you might have a general idea of what all these things are doing, but for those uninitiated, I'm just going to go through it again. So it's good to start with an area that everyone knows. Hopefully you all know Lumbridge. As we can see here on the editor, we have some recognizable shapes. So we have the river going down the middle here, we have the castle to the bottom left, we have some green and yellow colours for the terrain, and then some grey paths connecting everything together. That's all cool. And the way we build these worlds is we have 4 different modes. So the first mode, actually I suppose it's the 5th mode, we'll get to that one at the end. F1 is locations. So this is where I can put down all sorts of scenery, NPCs, objects, walls, buildings, pretty much everything that you'd either interact with or would get in your way. Second of all, we have the height mapping. So here we decide the height of the terrain and how the player runs across it. So we have a cool mode here as well, where we can sort of turn the editor into a sort of a 3D view. It's just to help us get the height we want, which is very handy. I'll turn it back off for a second. And third mode, we have Underlay. So if you think of the blended terrain, so let's look at this river for a second. We have this brown terrain over here, we have this green, and there's sort of a general transition from brown to green, and that is the Underlay. So as you can see, we just paint down the block color, and the engine does all the good work and blends it all together for us. And then finally, well, almost finally, we have overlay mode. So this, as you can see, I've actually toggled something off here. So if I toggle that back on, it shows us these big yellow blocks everywhere. Obviously, it's quite hard to see what's going on. That is just to signify that this is a free-to-play zone. So I'm just going to toggle that off for now so we can see the map a little bit better, and I can talk about the other modes as well. So in F4 mode, the main thing that you generally throwing down are paths and waterways. So think rivers, oceans, you know. And then also we have sort of tile properties. So all these red dashes here, they are blocking. We obviously don't really want someone running across the water. No one's Jesus. And then we have these blue squares where it sort of selectively removes roof if you haven't already got those turned off. So if you enter a building, you can actually see where you've gone. There are a few other ones as well, not used quite as much. If you move up a floor, so you use F5 to F8 to sort of go to the different floors. As you can see, roofs are generally on the floor above, as are, you know, upper floors of buildings. As you can see, there's a lot more icons here. So let's click over here for a second, just so I can monitor that. Cool. So the green circles are sort of like something we don't really use anymore. This is low detail mode. So back in the day, obviously, if someone had a worse computer, they would select low detail mode, and it would make give them a version of the game that's slightly easier to run. And in this case, things that were forced to viz below, which is the green slash, were assumed removed. So, for instance, these sort of crosses on the top of this wall. Let's get a good angle. These are mapped on the floor above of this wall, and in low detail mode, those wouldn't render as well, just to sort of relieve stress on the engine. So that's what those icons mean. We're not going to be using any of those. As I said, we don't have low and high detail mode anymore. We've also got these yellow triangles. These are a bit more complicated. So the way the player runs across the world is they sort of follow the terrain. So if they wanted to go over a bridge, you couldn't just put like a bridge model there, because the player wouldn't have any way of interacting with it, because it can only run across terrain. So how we do that is we have this mode called link below, and this takes the floor above and puts it to the floor below, so allowing you to walk across the river. So this is how we sort of build bridges. So essentially you just sort of link below everywhere you need to go. Am I ready for poll 3? Let's have a look at poll 2 first. Okay, so we have the choices between a hamlet, a fort and a hermit. So it looks like hermit's lost, with fort winning with 48%, hamlet in a close second. So we're making a medium-sized fort within a Arctic wilderness sort of zone. That's quite interesting, and it's quite thematic as well. Yeah, if we can throw out the third poll now while I carry on talking through the map editor, that would be great. Thank you, Mod Sween. So what have we got here? So that is those are the 4 modes. Just a brief introduction. You'll probably get to know them a bit more as I start creating. So we're sort of done with Lumbridge for now, so we'll keep that in the background. We don't need to get rid of it completely. Let's go to our new file. This is exactly the area we have to play around with. So to get, obviously you saw Lumbridge there, so you have a rough idea of how much space a single map file is, what we have to work with. So essentially 4 Lumbridge castles, essentially. So what I will probably plan to do is have a central zone with the structure in the middle. Given that it's an Arctic one, I don't really want to put on an island, so I might just have like sort of surround the area with a wilderness, maybe like some like these dead trees here. Yeah, use those as sort of natural blocking. Yeah, let's go with that. So let's start getting the base down. So I'm just looking over at the who would have thought, an Arctic wilderness, and we're going with evil. That is perfect, because those are all quite thematic. That's nice. I imagine they're doing a holy Arctic fort might be. I mean, there's definitely ways I could have done that, but yeah, Zamorak is definitely the easiest option here, so that is handy. So let's start with some floor. So I'm just going to go to the terrain, and I'm going to throw down some. We'll give it to the wilderness. We'll go with just the middle grey. So we have down here a whole bunch of colours. Essentially, that's all they really are. They're just different colours of ground that we want. These are all going to be blended together anyway, so it's not too important. But let's start with some there. Yeah, that's a good place. So we have a brush here. It's a bit small at the moment, so I'm going to use my +- keys to just make that big. I'm going to probably talk about my shortcuts I'm using, because I'm used to showing people around the map editor, and I sometimes forget to tell them about the shortcuts. So it's always good to annotate myself as I go. Cool, so we're just gonna fill the entire area there with some ground, and as you can see, we can now see something in the game window over here. As you can see, it's all lumpy like it's hills, and that's perfect because that's sort of what we want to start with. The reason it's like that is because every map square starts with just sort of like this sort of random noise. It helps. It just helps certain areas feel a bit less flat. This is why sometimes you'd see weird like tidal waves in the distance. If like an ocean map square hasn't been flattened out, it might still have this bumpiness on it, which is how we get those funny memes with the. I think there was a big tidal wave north of Tutorial Island at some point. We might have fixed that since then. So yeah, that's how that happens. No, there's also to do with map instancing as well, but I won't get too far into that. So I'm just going to create a little flat plateau in the middle for my environment. So I'm just going to do that. In fact, I've got this straw poll open. I want to keep the chat open so I can actually answer some questions. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? What program am I using? This is our in-house tool, the map editor. It's how we create game worlds. It's built purely for Old School. And let's look at some more questions. Oh, Sleeper, I'm sorry if you're not finding this very interesting. We've only just got started. It will get a lot better. Don't worry. Is your setup? Different from setting the office? Yeah. Well, I don't have. So the question was, is my setup different to the one in the office? So it's the same computer. I have the same amount of screens, and I'm sat in a chair. So yeah, it's pretty similar. I suppose I don't have people around me. I can't easily speak to people, so it is slightly it isn't the smoothest of transitions. Obviously, you don't have to be able to talk to people at a moment's notice. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do a slight smoothing of the entire area. Am I making any rob crab spawn? I mean, that's not all that Relic is used for. It's got other. I mean, there probably will be some rock crabs. If I put like an ocean down and I want that area, I can put some down. But it depends what we really want this for. This is just a little bit of fun. We got here for 3 hours, so we're here from 3 till 6. I probably should have done that in the intro. Live and learn. And yeah, I'll probably take a few breaks every now and then. I'll probably do a break at 4 just to see where we're at, and I won't go away anywhere, but just to sort of analyse what we've got done so far, and if we want to change anything. So let's look at it. Like a lost castle. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Sort of like so think of the ruins in the wilderness. I don't want it to make it quite as destroyed, but maybe sort of a middle ground between built and maybe seen a little bit of war. I don't want it to be too wilderness, as though I sort of want to do a sort of a mixture of those 3 areas I sort of mentioned in the initial question. So sort of like a fusion of Relica, the wilderness, and the sort of Arctic region. We've only got a map square to do it, so it might look a bit busy if there's too many. So we might just have like a single peak somewhere over there, and a little fort down here. So in fact, yeah, I feel like given that it's Trollham, we do want a mountain. So I've got my little flat area here, but I'm going to go into. Oh, I tried to save it, but that's not going to work, is it? In fact, no, I will need. I'll save it because it's always good to save your work. So I'm just going to save it. The temp file. Oh, that'd be quite handy. Cool. So I want to win someone that collects some great answers from you guys, great questions for you guys, and then I'll provide you some answers. So yeah, just keep this coming in. What's this for? So this is just a little bit of fun. This isn't necessarily going into the game. However, that doesn't mean it can't go into the game in the future. Obviously, we set this out. We didn't really know exactly what this would look like. We had a rough idea, but yeah. So if it turns out that this could be used in the future, definitely it could be going in. I'm thinking. Given that I'm giving myself 1 map square to play around with, this could then be extrapolated down to 2 map squares, like moved over there, given a bit more space on the outside, and it could be turned into some form of competitive map, be it for Last Man Standing or other things. But there is no promises, there's nothing planned, it could be used, that's all I'm trying to say. Let's go into the height mapping mode, yeah, and let's build ourselves a little mountain. Let's just get the terrain down first, is basically what I'm trying to say. So we have some tools down here where we can increase and decrease. And choose the increase one. I'm going to start building up. So I'm just going to start. See, we can sculpt in like that. As you can see, the sculpt over there didn't really work too well, and that's because I didn't pre-smooth those. So I'm just going to go over this again and just smooth these out. When it's so basically green means that it's set to value of 0, and it just runs off this sort of it's just random noise generator. I think it uses Perlin noise. And all I'm doing here is I'm blending it, so it's setting it to the exact number that it's setting it roughly to the same number it was before. So say like this was at value 30, it's going to smooth it out to be around value 28 or 32, something like that. But it just means that when I start smoothing out later, it doesn't look a bit strange. So yep, we got all that down like that. We got ourselves our little hill. Probably want to make that a little bit nicer. So let's just smooth that out again. And we're still on the increase, so let's just slowly paint this up here. Someone did mention a bounty hunter crater. Not making a bounty hunter crater, although that would work given the themes I'm going with here. This is more about just sort of getting everyone in on the approach we take to sort of assembling the levels, and a nice quick little design stream sort of extending that. So what I'm doing here is while we can increase, we can also hold shift to smooth it out as well, just to give a slightly better transition. So what I'm going to do is on top of this hill, just so we get a nice sense of scale, I'm going to give us a little mascot. I'm going to use Rob for that. Where did I put Rob? Oh wait, maybe he's called... I don't know what his name is. Let's just go with Bob. There we go. Let's get Bob on the hill. Okay, so that's a fairly tall hill, but it wants to be a bit more mountainous. So I want to, we're going to put this fort in the middle. Let's have some natural barriers, and so there's a reason why they built up here. I don't want to build it on a hill. So built too many things on hills lately. So let's just build up around here. Do you have to be an artist to be a level designer? No, not necessarily. They're actually fairly... there's overlap. For us, in the Old School team, most of the level designing is done by the artists, as we are the... we use the map editor the most. We generally make all the assets, assemble them out. But that being said, it doesn't stop any developers from making their own map squares. And I encourage it, because it is nice to see what everyone else can come up with. But it is definitely something that I enjoy doing. It depends on the company, essentially. Some companies will have dedicated level designers. Some will have slightly mixes, and we are quite a mix, as we are a fairly small art team. There is 3 of us and an art director. Me, Mod West, Mod G, and Mod Rye, and then our art director, Mod Deagle. But we are indeed expanding. So that's sort of my natural barrier here. So let's just get like I'm going to answer another question quickly. I'm just going to put down some... Just want to get down the size of the fort first before I go any further. So I like to use the 3x3 tool because it gives you a good idea of how large the area is you're painting is, because you can just imagine your character in the middle with tiles around it. So I'm going to grab a nice colour for the world. Oh, I just closed that. Let's bring that back up. That was my that was my search. I've actually never done that before. I accidentally closed down a little window. Let's bring that back and angle that back up again. And let's just start with black, because we can always replace this at the end. So currently I've got enough room for, say, a 12 by 12 building there. Let's just get that like this. Actually, I'm going to get out of top down, into top down mode even, and throw it down like that. So that is roughly where I want the fort to be. Although I think that could be a little bit bigger, I suppose. How do we want the entrance to be? That's the question. We don't want it to be that side, do we? Okay, let's orientate myself first. Okay, so we got the mountain to the east, or the west. I should really know my sides. And, okay, we're going to put the door facing this way out. Okay, let's answer a question. The program is only... I'm going to read the question in my head first. That's always worth. Okay, yeah, so this is an in-house tool. Unfortunately, it isn't available to the public. It relies on having access to all of our back-end sources to get all the resources for it. So it's not really a thing that we can just open up to the players, unfortunately. However, it is something I'd love to push for in the future, because I imagine if we had help from the players, we could get some interesting community designs. So I'm just going to slightly push that out while looking at that. It doesn't necessarily need to be square. I can make it rectangular if I need to. I can even change the shape. I don't really want it to just be a single fort. I want it to be like a main fortification, but with some buildings and maybe a small wall around the outside. So potentially, let's just get the general shape of it down like that, and then like another building out here, and then let's do another building there with potentially like some. Oh, we're actually getting quite close to our edge here. Yeah, we'll walk at that. Let's ask another question. So, how large are the map files normally? So all the map files are the same size. They are the size here. I think it's 64 tiles by 64 to give you a rough idea of how large they are. We don't always have to use up the entire area, of course, and you can stitch different map squares together to make new ones. So just an idea of what is inside a single map file. You can sort of see this rough. Hopefully, you can sort of see this rough grid. So, for instance, Shalo Village, they've quite cleverly fit the entire town or city, town, into a single map square. So a lot of this is the reason why things are square. Is because the map files are square. Same with Draenor Manor, that's sort of nicely fitting into one map square. Same with the Grand Exchange. So yeah, that's sort of generally how big our map files are. I just saw a What's This Dough go through the chat. This is just a little design stream. We're going to spend 3 hours just building an environment. Early stages so far, working a bit slowly. Oh, I think I have a friend. Wait a minute. Oh, there she is. Oh, sorry, my cat wants to go out. Give me 1 second. In fact, let's just introduce her to the stream, because you can't do this at home. She doesn't really like being picked up, so I'm going to put her back down now. Do you want to go outside? I'll just let her out a second. Go on. Okay, you do you. Okay, she doesn't want to go outside now. Sorry about that. Cat's been difficult. I'll just give her a stroke. There we go. Kitty, you're famous now, Tallulah. What's her name? Oh, I just told you. It's Tallulah. She's a British blue, and she's looking at me with disgruntlement. This is probably the one inconvenience of working from home, is the cat is very confused. Cool. Let's go on to another question while I start building out this area here. So, actually, before we go any further, let's figure out where I can put. Oh, get to the right floor. Let's figure out where I can put some water. We need some bodies of water, because you need to, drink, right? Let's first of all pick up Bob and put him. Let's just put a few of these down here, just so we have a reference for scale. Because as you see, these people are quite small, and you can, when you've got quite an empty map like this, you can get a bit distracted with how much space you have. As you can see, I've already gone quite close to the edge of the map file. So let's click another one down there, and look at another question. How did we create maps before this tool was created? I think this tool was created so we could make maps. There was a moment while Old School didn't have a map maker, and I know Ash did some wizardry to create a few things. How he did the nitty-gritty details are probably a better question for him. But yeah, it's quite difficult. You can't really create new environments. You'd have to reuse old environments in clever ways. So yeah, without the tool, we'd struggle. How long is the training period with the map editor? So the map editor really works. So the question was, how long is the training period? So generally, I sort of show people through the map editor. It takes roughly 1 to 2 hours. Obviously, that doesn't make you, know everything. I don't really think I know everything. It just takes a lot of sort of playing around with it and practicing, testing out some things. Just make sure the cat's still there. So yeah, so the training takes about 2 hours. Obviously, there's more training involved. They're separate from the map editor, obviously tying it in with code and other things. Making the actual location files themselves as well is another lesson. But yeah, how long it takes exactly, I can't really put a number on it, because it just helps to sort of get into the map editor itself and just sort of play around and experiment and just sort of figure out how everything looks nice together, and just play around, have fun really. Next question. If you're an adjacent map square, would the edges line up automatically, or would you have to blend them together? So, unlike this one, because I've called this one a name, it doesn't really know where to put it inside the map. But as you can see here, Lumbridge is named 50/50, so it's sort of up in like a grid. If you put one called 50/51, it's going to put one next to it, and it will, once you open and close it again, and it knows both of those exist, it will give you this sort of, as you can see here, the edge of the Lumbridge map ends with this goblin. But we can see another 10 or so tiles out, maybe it was 12. So yeah, you have a bit of space just to see how it blends with the next map square, and that's about, yeah, that's what you really need to see. So yeah, that's answers that question. Obviously, yeah, if this height mapping was up here and this height mapping was down here, you could use the blend tool to blend it. So I think it's like bottom left, so I think this map square has control over the bottom left. So if I wanted to sort of blend this a bit better, I'd have to go into the map square north of here and blend it like that. Are you doing any goblin boss in Lumbridge? Nope, this is just Lumbridge. I'm just showing you Lumbridge as an example. This is what I'm working on. There are a lot of ruins. Can we get this to look more lived in than the normal wilderness style areas? Oh yeah, for sure. I don't. This won't necessarily look like an area from the wilderness. It's going to be sort of an amalgamation of sort of Viking and the wilderness and some troll areas as well. So let's get back into it. I want like a rough wall. In fact, I think I like this building here is too far out. So I might. In fact, I might use that as part of the fortification actually. Yeah, that could work. So we can actually build the walls between there. So what I'm going to do is grab a wild wall. So this is just a. This isn't necessarily going to be what the final assets are, although this is a fort and it would fit quite nicely. I'm just going to put down some walls here. So I was thinking having some, yeah, having a basic fortification around the fort, sort of links into the surrounding hills. So it's got like a natural barrier and then an unnatural one. And let's also have some water, like I mentioned earlier. I think we should probably get some water coming down here. It's maybe like a river. I'm just going to stick with some basic water for now. We can always change this to something else at the end if needed. It always makes sense to have a settlement next to a body of water because you've got somewhere to drink from. So that's why we're putting this here. Just turn up a little bit. As you can see, it's very unsmooth at the moment, and I will get to that section later. As you can see, we have a bunch of other shapes here where you can very painstakingly go in and smooth out those corners, like so. We're just going to leave it quite rough for now, just to get a rough block out. Oh, accidentally chose the wrong one there. In fact, let's bring this over a bit so I don't have to go into the next map square to sort of make the transition. So, cool. I will probably build like a little bridge here, and we're going to build up around here as well. And we're going to get through another question while I go through. If I don't just look at this, stay hydrated. Yep, great advice there in the chat. Stay hydrated, everyone. Got myself a nice bottle of water here. I probably should have refreshed it before the stream, but I can go and get another one if I need to. Sweet. Okay, let's finish this height mapping. So, we want this to be a little bit taller. It helps to be an orthographic 3D view. I don't think you can actually see these drop downs, but when I go up here, there's obviously drop downs from these files here, which is what I'm using to change the view. There's no shortcut for that. So, cool. I'm just going to build this up here. We sort of want, yeah, this to match up with the wall. But we don't really want anyone to be able to pass over this though, so we're going to fill this with rocks. I might have like a path around it. So you probably get like a vantage point from the inside, but the outside I want it to be quite unapproachable. So the way this could be used in the future, I could build out, so if you imagine, I think that's the first I can scroll out, okay, yeah, so you imagine this half again over here, and this half again over there, so this would be like the central area of the map, and this could, yeah, it could work quite nicely as a, you know, a future PvP map. There is, at least I know I do, and maybe a few other people in the team, and maybe a lot of players, really want to push for maybe some new and interesting last man standing maps. So this could tie into that. That would be quite nice. I am not a big fan of the current. Oh, still got an increase of the current LMS map. It's could do with some polish. Let's see what. Yeah, it's got some pogs there. Someone's asked me what I'm making, so yeah, that's pretty much what I said. I'm just sort of having a little fun fun session in the map editor where we've had a bit of guidance from you guys, and once I got a bit more down, we'll review this at 4 o'clock, and I'm going to start taking suggestions from the chat. What's your favourite song to play on your guitar there? Oh, I don't know, I've not played that in a few weeks. I should really be playing it more. When we first started lockdown, I was playing it more, and I was actually getting quite good. Again, I mean, yeah, I'm not great. I'm not playing that. But yeah, recently, what did I play? No, we won't get into that. it's not relevant. Let's get to another question. So what did you do? What did you study to become a level designer? So I started my journey to being a game designer by going to college. I just went to the college right next to Jagex actually, and and I did a what was it called? Games development and production. It was a strange course. It was very good, very helpful. It's definitely a lot better now. That was 8 years ago when I went. So yeah, lots of tech changes since then, and ways to things that have made the whole process a lot easier. And then from there, I think I did 2 years at college. Actually, no, I don't like these hills yet. Let's keep doing the hills. I'm getting distracted. 2 years at college, then 4 years at university, doing a game design and programming course. Oh, and then yeah, and then I applied here. And that's my journey. You would expect someone to do a games design and programming course to sort of go more into design and programming than art, but I always had a fondness for art throughout my entire life, and it was always something I was doing in the background, and it was always the thing that seemed a little easier to do than the rest. So I never really focused on my art, and I was always making like my own art for all the little games I made. And so I eventually just sort of developed this low poly style, and then as university was coming to an end, I was like, oh, old school. This could fit quite nicely. I could be an artist. a bit of a 180, but well, not too much of a 180. Still relevant, right? Is that tall enough? So I kind of want the fort to pop up a little bit above this. So just to get an idea of how tall the fort's going to be, let's get out of height mode and just give it a rough block out. There's the button. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, it was the wrong button, that's why. This is really cool, thank you. I mean, I can't really take too much credit. Just making maps for Old School is really cool. It's just a cool thing to do. I sort of want to be able to, so as you can see here, Bob's got a bit of room to walk across there, but not a crazy amount, so I might widen that out a little bit and maybe make some of this taller. In fact, I might turn it into more of a mountain as well. Okay, let's just do what I just said. Now we've got to figure out whether to map the walls on the inside or the outside. This is a question I ask myself every day. Which one is better, outside or inside? I don't know. We're going to go with inside because that gives me slightly more room though. So what I mean by this is this wall kit is double-sided, as you can see. It looks the same on both sides. So I could map them on the outside of the map square, or on the outside of the tile, or on the inside of the tile. Obviously, it is minuscule difference with this particular wall kit, but it's always good to get that figured out beforehand, so you don't tread on yourself. Although saying that, this wall kit, as I said, can be used in both ways, but if I wanted to swap out for a one-sided wall kit in the future that had like castle or brick on one side and say wallpaper on the other, obviously if it's flipped around the wrong way, it's going to have the wallpaper facing outwards, which might look a bit strange. But with the wilderness wall kit, we're not going to bump into that problem too much. So I'm just going to throw in some. So yeah, our wall kits are made out of 5 pieces. As you can see here, we've got type 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, 1 is a straight, 2 is a filler, 3 is a corner, 4 is a post, and 5 is a diagonal. And they all are used to create, you know, smooth flowing walls. I say smooth as they can be. We only really limit to straights and diagonals. Something I have noticed a lot in some recent fake maps made by the players, which are fantastic. I would highly suggest those keep on coming because they're great to look at. I've noticed that there's been a use of like curved walls quite a bit, and I would love to be able to do curved walls. Like doing like really circular buildings would be really nice, but unfortunately whenever we try to do a circular building, it has to sort of be more hexagonal than just purely straight, purely round. So I'll show you what I mean by that. I didn't really mean to do the entire bottom floor, but I got carried away. So let's just finish that off. I know there's no windows at the moment, so it's going to be quite a dark building, but That's not a problem. So that looks like a nice area to use there. We have some corners here. I might use those for some spiral staircases, because that will be a nice way of saving some space. And then we have some nice central area. And I can always push and pull things around if I need some more space later down the road. Let's look for another question. How far below sea level can you go? You can't. So generally sea level is set to, if I just save this file, hop back over to Lumbridge, generally the sea is set to the lowest value, which is 1. And generally we just have to you know, work around that. Generally most like sort of lowland areas are between 0 and 30, maybe 50 value. The value is all the way up to 255. There's only a few places that actually use the highest value. So if we look at the top of White Wolf Mountain, that uses it. I think parts of Backstorian Falls, and maybe some Wintertodd, and some other places in Zaya. And you know this from this height map video that I think Super made recently. So yeah, that was quite interesting. I never really thought to look myself. So yeah, you can't really go below sea level. Obviously we do have underwater areas, and those are sort of just faked underwater areas. They are just normal map squares with sort of water overlays. So you're not actually going into, like, you're not actually going underneath the water. It's a completely different instance. How come you can see the Tower of Life from the Corp Cave? What determines where map areas will be placed? So we have this map here that you've all seen. It's the world map. We also have a separate map, which is the dungeon map. So the question was, why can they see the corp? I can never tell if I'm reading the question out or if I'm saying it in my head. So yeah, why can we see the Tower of Life from the Corp Cave? If I go to dungeons, you'll see just a bunch of dungeons all mapped next to each other. I think the plan from this was initially to map them to a relevant place. So with Falador's Dwarven Mine, these connect and match up quite nicely with the overworld. Same with the whole entirety of Varrock's Sewer. Oh wait, you can't see this, can you? I just looked over the stream and I'm just sort of annotating parts of Lumbridge. That's it's kind of embarrassing. I don't know how many times I've tried to show you the map of that. This is actually really unfortunate because this is a really cool dungeon map that you're never going to be able to see now. Yeah, people are laughing at me. It's good. Sweet. Okay. Yeah. Essentially, what I'm looking at, I'll just describe it with words. Essentially, we have all the underground maps. In fact, no, maybe I'll show a picture in the future. I'll figure out how I can do that. I forgot that floating maps, floating windows in the map editor aren't being streamed. I hoped I did. But I mean, it is quite messy. I have wanted to sort of make a very pretty version of the underground map, but it doesn't really work because not everywhere lines up perfectly. And if you think about the underground, you can't really just assume it as one plane. You got to see it as sort of like quite vertical. And just because there's a dungeon here and there's a dungeon here in the same place, one could be lower than the other one. So that's sort of the way I see it. And it's quite hard because of that to make a fully fledged dungeon map. But the reason you can see the Tower of Life from the Corp Cave is probably because they are mapped near each other, and they are not mapped on the dungeon map. They're mapped on potentially on the extra map, and things are a little less sensical when you get to the extra map. Obviously with the default render distance, it doesn't really become a problem to see these other instances from where you're stood, say the Corp Cave, but when you have a slightly larger render distance, you might be able to see a little bit more, so like that. Cool. Take a picture and put it on Twitter. I want to see it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll make sure that I'll show you off the dungeon map at some point in the future. That's something to look forward to. That's for sure. Okay, cool. Next question. Alright, it's kind of similar to the last question. Can you please explain how ladders, caves, etc. that lead to different map squares work? Well, the way... Well, just obviously I'm not a programmer, so I can't go into the exact details, but I do know the basics, I think, of it. With a ladder, when you click on it, it's really just teleporting you to another location, and it just seems like you're going inside a cave. And that's pretty much how that works. So it'll just be in another map square somewhere else, and you're just sort of characters being moved over there. You're not actually entering the cave or climbing the ladder. Obviously with the ladder you'll just sort of be teleported up one floor. If it's a ladder, if it's a staircase, you might be teleported up and over to be at the other end of the stairs, which is generally how stairs work. But yeah, that's pretty much how that works. Is the map file and trunk the same thing? No, not quite. You can, I don't know what the exact what defines a chunk, but I think it's slightly smaller than a map square. which is why you suddenly run into loading barriers like in the middle of map squares sometimes. Cool, that's enough questions for now. I'm just going to get back to just doing some modelling, some map building. So I'm just going to get some height to this tower. So I think the first and second floor, well, ground and first floor should match quite nicely. So just going to map out some walls here quickly. It's easiest to get the straight walls put down first, and then go in afterwards and put in some corners. I could put some diagonals in to make slightly more rounded building, but I think I want quite a blocky building for now. But that could change. Who knows what could happen. Cool, and so we got a second floor there. Let's have a look over here for some chats. What am I working on? So yeah, just do another update for people who have just joined. So I'm just sort of spending the next, so it's a stream 3 till 6. We're doing just some sort of collaborative design and building out an environment, and we're going to, initially we decided on the biome structure and sort of characters via straw poll. I'm going to be just working on filling out the area with some stuff relevant to those themes, as well as taking some feedback from the chat as I go, and then we'll probably touch base in about 20 minutes at 4 just to see where we are at and figure out what we need to do, and yeah, again at 5, and yeah, pretty much what's going to be doing today. Will this editor ever be properly released? I've already answered that question. I don't know. It would be cool, definitely. It would be cool to have players contribute and see what they can make. As someone who's kind of obsessed with Animal Crossing at the moment, I know what it's like to have sort of community designed things in games, and yeah, that would be really cool for sure. Cool, let's make another floor to this building. So I want these first 2 floors to be the same, and then in the middle it's going to have on the third next floor it's going to have like a tower coming out of the middle. So I want to throw down a floor. So I'm just going to go down to the bottom floor again, grab that back floor and put it on here so we have something to stand upon. Makes this building a little bit more solid. And now I'm going to put some more floors in. Nope, more walls in, that's the one. We want a little bit of a walkway around this, but we don't want the tower to be too wide. Yep, that seems sufficient. Plenty of room to work with. And then for the final floor on the top, let's block that off as well. And now I'm sure there will be a type of wall with a battlement. There you go, right there. Wild one wall battlement. So now I can put that over the top to top off the building. Obviously I will polish it a bit more later, but for now we just want to get a rough block out of what this area is going to look like. So we have a nice fort here. It's not too big. We have our natural barriers around here with the mountains. And Bob's keeping a good eye on everything, and all of his Bob brothers are helping out as well. Oh no, those two have been separated. What a shame. Okay, down to the bottom floor. Let's put these buildings in. Let's have this as I want one to be a blacksmith, and then one to just be, I suppose just a barracks could work quite nicely. Although I might want to bring that in a little bit more, if that's the case, because it's a bit far out at the moment. Let's bring that in like so. And I don't know if I have these walls one wide or just 2 wide. Yeah, it might seem a bit pathetic if it's just 1. So what I might do is build these walls out to have like a space in between them as well. So something like this. Oh, that's the wrong type of wall. That's why these everything I have selected flashes red. If I pick up a different, it's just to make sure I know what I've got in focus essentially. So there, I didn't really pay too much attention and mapped down the wrong things, but it's easy to fix. So yeah, I might, yeah, I think a thick wall like that might be a thick wall. I said it. Might be a little bit nicer aesthetically. And it might, yeah, make it feel that bit more solid. Let's have a look over at the chat. Show bobs. Yeah, there are all the bobs. I'm showing all the bobs. Okay. Please make the area feel old school. I will make the area feel old school. However, it is worth noting that old school is a fairly subjective view of something. But I'm not making any new assets, I'm just sort of using assets from around the game, so we should be good with that. So let's get this one down. Let's get the entrance. Do we want the entrance facing south? Yeah, that works for me. And this one, we're going to get this one facing... Oh no, that wasn't facing south, was it? As someone called Mod West, you'd think I'd know the directions of the compass, but I don't, clearly. This one's facing south, that one was facing west. Okay, there we go. Cool, let's got that down. Let's put the corners on that building. Mod West, yeah, exactly. West side is the beast side. And other such memes. See, now I've got a question to ask. I've mapped these on the inside, but now I've got this 1 tile thick wall, and now I need to question whether I'm putting these on the outside or the inside. I'm going to go on the outside, which is different, and it might complicate things later, but we will deal with it. It will work for now. And that one needs to go on the outside, as does that one. In fact, outside works best. Yeah, outside works best. And you can't really tell that there's like a gap here, but I can. So I'm going to put some corners on there as well. Just so, actually you could tell, it definitely looks a lot nicer when it's like that. So we've got a sort of miniature entrance there. You can even put some flooring there, so it's a bit more solidified. Apologise if you can hear my family members, they have very loud voices. And I can hear them, and I'm just worried that you can hear them. Mod Weiss, I like that, that's a good pun. I'm just gonna look at, oh yeah, go, Winter memes, lol. Yeah, you got it. I'm in the background, oh yeah, you can. Nice. Sweet. Okay, let's go to another question. There are limits, are there height limits in the map editor, or are you free to create a structure as large as you want? So, there are limits, much like with everything, there should always be a limit. But we can go quite full. I've never truly tried this, so just to clarify, there is a slight limitation, not so much to what we can force the engine to do, but what sort of will render. So if you have a really long polygon, and the bottom of it is below the camera, and the top of it is above the camera, the render is going to get quite confused, because we don't have like your standard Z buffer. It's trying to do this sort of clever sorting method that I can explain. And sometimes it does get confused, and those are the limitations. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but when you're on the redwoods, or if you stand at the base of the redwoods, you can sort of get this. You can sort of notice it on them where the sort of polygons start to tear, and that was pushing it. That was pretty much the tallest structure I could create. So, yeah, the redwoods are a good example of how tall things can be. However, with our current graphics settings, it's probably it doesn't look great because you get to the top of the bit of the redwoods and your render distance isn't quite far. In fact, I think in the default engine you're just at the edge of stopping rendering the bottom floor, which can look a bit strange. So yeah, there are limits, but it's good to not get too close to limits as it can cause aesthetic displeasure. You're doing cool. Could you show or explain how the map editor looks when looking underground? See, it is pretty much the same. While I can't show you the dungeon map, I can load a dungeon map, so I will do that. So, let's go to dungeon. Let's get one that everyone knows, so let's go to the sewers. There we go. Is that the right sewer? There we go. So this is Varrock sewers. Let's get to... Where is the... Oh, this is... Well, I suppose this is more... Moss Giants, and then Edgeville, and then you got the rest of the sewers down there. So yeah, this is like the area with the red spiders. It's the way it looks more like a cave is just to do with the assets. So the way, obviously with walls, with a building, I just do a single wall here, but this has got sort of like a more built-up asset, as well as it's got the floor above as well that's sort of like pushed down here to sort of give this sort of plateau look over there. So yeah, it's a slightly different way of building an environment. Perhaps next time we do one of these live streams I can show you how I'd go about building a dungeon as well. So yeah, that's pretty much what a dungeon looks like. As you can see here, there's lots more space around them because you don't obviously need the tunnels to connect. Cool. Let's look at the chat. We got any other questions? Roofs. Would it be possible to fix roofs to look better in caves with roofs off? Yeah, it depends on how the artist or designer built the environment. There is some people decide to, well, some older environments have some of the sort of like, yeah, the upper parts of the cave sort of removed with roofs. It purely depends on which part it is. I have noticed a few myself because I like to try and play with roofs turned on just to see what that's like. I know a lot of people don't because you can't really click through buildings, and yeah, it's just a little bit more tedious. But yeah, definitely there can be a little bit more polish in some of the underground areas, but going through them all will take time. Okay, so someone's asked, for those unfamiliar, what is my role? So my role is undescriptive, it's artist, which doesn't really say much, aside from I create art. But yeah, I need to, there's quite a heavy question to load. So yeah, we have, it depends. So artists, you know, make the art, create the levels. Then we've got the developers who obviously program all to make all the things work. But yeah, there's many of us do the different levels of level design and game creation, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Hi West, enjoying the stream. Do you happen to know which community? I'm sorry, I can't help you there. Yeah, just message one of the CM team, I suppose. Sween or Acorn, or any of the rest. What's happened with the core redesign? What's happened with the core redesign? That's still happening in the background. But yeah, I've got nothing to update you about today. But yeah, hopefully in the future I can do something like that. If I was in the stream where I'm doing some of the work, I could have showed you, but I don't really want to close the map editor at this point because it might mess with things. So next time I'll make sure I'm in the correct stream so I can show you some cool things that I've been working on in my spare time to do with the rendering work. But yeah, nothing to update you on at the moment for that. Okay, let's actually add some things to this level because nothing's changed in a while. And it's probably getting a little dull. We don't want that, do we? So let's grab my parapet and let's figure out which one of these buildings is going to be tallest. So we want this one to be, well, obviously this one's going to be the tallest. And the blacksmith doesn't need another doesn't need another floor, so that could stop there. And so yeah, if I make this one a barracks, that means this one will need walls. So let's give it some walls. In fact, I might even put a door here so we can walk out onto the balcony. In fact, let's pretend I had that planned from the beginning. Like that. Yeah. We have a doorway there. Easy access to that. Oh, should I put that one up a floor as well? I was kind of wanting to do a different type of roof on that one. So I might put some stairs there to get up to there, so that's not too built in. We'll have to make sure that all fits together nicely. It might clash with some of the assets, so I might put up there. We'll, face that when we get there. For now, let's just get the rest of these parapets up. Or battlements, or whatever they're called. For now, I'm just going to do battlements on here as well. Just to remind myself that this... Oh, just make it so it fits nicely. Like so. Cool. I suppose this wall really should match the other ones, but I might... Yeah, I'll come to that one later. And let's get this building finished. So grab... So what I'm doing here to grab the location is using the grav key, or the grave key. It's just the one right below the escape key. I'm just using it to like select things essentially. If I try and select nothing, it defaults to the top of the list, which is the 100 Dave cellar wall, which I'm sure many of you have seen. It's in Evil Dave's lair, and sometimes mapped accidentally, because, as I just said, when you accidentally press the wrong thing, you have that selected, and I don't know, you may have seen a bug where one of these are just sitting around and you're like, wait, what's that doing there? Well, that's why. Let's grab those, finish filling those in. So I'm going to leave that entrance there so they can get out onto the battlements. And, oh, I might do it for the other side as well, that would make sense. And just to remind myself that this is going to be barracks, I'm just going to find some quick models. They don't necessarily need to be the final ones, but just to give an idea. Do we have any bunk beds? Ah, we do. Perfect. So I'm just going to throw in some bunk beds in here. Make this feel a bit, because you don't want to give them too nice a bed, and you want to fit as many warriors as possible. So let's give them bunks. Let's just put a few in here. There we go. That feels probably a bit too busy, but we can get back to that later. It's just better so I know what that room's for. And now let's go down here. Let's grab ourselves a table. 100 Dave big wooden table. I do like Dave's big wooden tables, so let's throw that down. Throw some across there. In fact, does he have? Usually for this, I would create unique assets for the location. But given that we're just sort of doing a little design stream here, I'm not going to be too precious about the assets, and I don't really want to be jumping from different programs. Usually I'd have to go into the the script editor and set all these up. But we have so many configs that, and this isn't going live anytime soon, so it's not a problem. So yeah, I've got some tables there. I actually probably should figure out where I'm going to put the ladder first. This corner seems quite empty, so let's keep this corner empty down here. That's cool. That ladder can be right pushed up down there. We have. Do we need some light? Well, maybe we don't need these actually. We might just go with one central table. I'll probably replace that with a better asset when it comes to it. Probably doesn't want it too close to the wall, too close to the door. We want a bit of space. In fact, over here there's way more space. And let's just get a quick chair as well. Doesn't matter which one, although we don't want that cutscene one. Rocking chair might not. There we go. Just a basic chair. That would do. So what we can do with scenery. So sceneries are the type 8s down here. We've also got a type 9, and it just rotates it 45 degrees, so you can add a bit of variation to your scene. Oh, don't want to completely remove the table. So it sort of makes the chairs look like they're in use. Go back to 8. It's good to mix them up a little bit. I'm also going to grab a ladder. So one thing to take note here is that all these assets are going to be quite. They're not going to really match too well. But that's not a problem. I will try and fit the nicest assets I can, but it is just depending on time and speed. And I can also replace these afterwards. It's not too difficult. We have a search and replace one. There we go. We've got a ladder. Might be a bit too tall. Oh, that's perfect. And it's going in this direction, so let's. There we go, lean it up against the wall, like so. And then this has a top, handy, and I can go above it and map the top down to line up. So that is, someone asked earlier how ladders work. That's how we map them down. As you can see, it was one location here and one location here. We call the things we map down locations. I don't know, scenery, I suppose is probably a better word for it. So yeah, I mapped down this ladder scenery here. This can be clicked on. Obviously, we'll just teleport the player up one floor and put them here. So we got ourselves a way up to the top. And yeah, we don't need a ladder for him. Although I suppose we need a ladder to get up here. And I do know there's a nice set of stairs somewhere. So another way to source assets if you don't want to just know every single name of assets in this browser here. Another way of doing it is to just go to that map square. So I'm pretty sure there's a nice ladder in Lunar Isle, so I'm just going to load the Lunar Isle map square. You can't see any of this, apologies. And I'm going to have a look at their staircases. Because I'm pretty sure they're outside. Oh, they're not, they're inside. There they are. Yeah, it's quite nice. Where is that? So if I just highlight over that, and then I just pick it, as you can see now they're flashing, they're highlighted. I'm going to close that map square because I don't need it anymore. And then I'm just going to take that asset and put it there. As you can see, doesn't really work, does it? And that's because I'm on the wrong floor. There we go, now it works. And then we remove that. Perfect, we have a way up there. So that'll get us onto that fortification, and obviously you go in here and up there. Obviously that's not the best way, so we probably do want an external way to get up to the top there as well. So I'm going to go back to the bottom floor, grab that staircase again, and then figure out the best place for it. We could make this building a little bit more interesting, actually. Yeah, it will sacrifice a few of the beds, but we don't need all those beds in there. I was thinking it might look not quite nice pushed into the corner there, but we need a way to get up there, so let's just slightly move these things around. So that does sort of block that. In fact, let's just have 3 bunks. Like that. Oh, yeah. That's still a good 6 men. That should be enough. Maybe a few more bunks in here as well to, you know. I mean, it doesn't have to make perfect sense, does it? This isn't a realistic proportioned environment. I mean, the environment itself is, but you know, the whole world isn't. So that should be fine. That's quite a good room. Put some crates in there and some armor stands. And we want to make sure that this room over here fits the furnace. So let's grab the furnace. So that's the furnace from Ahoy, so that's the Ahoy quest. You're seeing all the interesting naming conventions that the artists and the developers have given their sceneries. So yeah, it's quite interesting. I have noticed there's a question about cutscene assets. Let's answer that. You just mentioned cutscene assets. Why are there separate assets for cutscenes and the game world? How are they different? So with I think the cutscene asset you're probably thinking of. Oh, should have pressed that button. I'm gonna try and open the open script editor now. Thinking about it. Okay, we'll leave it to its own devices. While I do that, let's look at the scenery asset that you were probably talking about. Oh, it might have been the Dave stuff. Although, if I type in chair again, yeah, it should show us the goblin chair from 100. So the reason why this chair. So the reason why this scenery chair is for these guys. So obviously this, no, there's the script editor, right on time. If I just open that, it shouldn't open above me. So this chair has been rotated on its edge. This is the chair that, is it what Face and Bent Nose are arguing over. So the reason why this has been saved out separately is because this one needs to have animations attached to it, and it needs to line up specifically with those 2 goblins as they fight over the chair. I assume, it's been a while since I've seen that cutscene. In fact, they are actually, they're frozen, so obviously they're not animating, but the chair still needs to be pushed onto its side, and as you can see here in the map editor itself, we don't have the ability to control the actual asset itself aside from its like orientation of which way it's rotated and on which floor it is. We can't like control the that sort of rotation quite actively inside the map editor. But it's still, even if we could, it will still need to be, you know, made specifically for certain cutscenes if there's certain things that need to interact with it. And it's it's just generally good practice to not map things that have potentially code attached to them anywhere. So, which is why I'd probably I'd go through this at the end and just sort of make sure there's nothing floating around that ties in with other things, because it could be setting variables that aren't related to this area, and you don't want that. What determines whether the player can walk? Is that programmed in on top of the terrain, or is there a certain height the player can't walk up? So that is all through overlay. So tile properties. So in F4 mode, there is the ability to just mapping down blocking. So if I were to click add, and then I'll just leave the terrain open for now. So if I then go over to the ortho mode, so I can see where the terrain is, and currently the player would just be able to run from here up to there without anyone being able to stop them. Why did I not see anything there? Oh. There we go, I need to select something. Okay. Yeah, they'd be able to run up there to there and nothing would stop them unless there's some blocking. So now if someone tried to walk from here to there, they'd, you know, path around this. And that's essentially how cliffs are sort of made. We just sort of go along the part where we don't want them to walk and then, you know, slowly block it off. This isn't really a final hill yet though, so I'm not going to keep that there. And I obviously wouldn't make it that colour either. But yeah, that's essentially how we decide whether a player can walk there and can't walk there. You can also see it here on the Lumbridge map. So this blocking properties all over the river. Certain scenery obviously can't be walked through. A wall, it wouldn't really serve much purpose if you could walk through it. So walls are blocking by default, as is scenery. So trees, you want to make sure they block walk as well as blocking range. Obviously, just because something you can't walk through it doesn't necessarily mean you can't fire over it. So things like a low fence, you want to be able to range that goblin over there to get your coins to get through the gate, or perhaps maybe like a table or a stool. Maybe you want to lower this man and, I don't know, farcast him for whatever reason. You can do that as well. So yeah, we sort of decide the blocking ourselves. There isn't any like hard limits for what terrain one can walk up. However, it will start to look a bit strange if someone's on like an incline like this and they're just stood there. That might break the immersion just a little bit. Sweet. Let's get back into creating the this place. So let's come out of auto mode or 3D view mode, should I say, and let's give this a top. A roof. As you can see, I've still got my blocking selected, which I don't particularly want, so I'm going to go remove that. So you just have like a little dialog box here where we can put those different properties. So the properties we have available are blocking, removing roof, not low detail, and visible. So I went over those briefly at the beginning, just to do it again. Map square blocking, obviously blocks. Remove roof signifies that you're inside a building, so you should selectively remove the roofs if that setting is chosen. Not low detail mode. Not low detail is an old thing from the past when we had low detail and high detail, and then visible is just visible is used for like taller structures that you want to see all at once. So think of like palm trees in Karamja. They're actually mapped over 3 floors. I don't know why I have to think about it. I could just take it. Yeah. Oops. Whereas let's actually go. Let's get a Brimhaven. There we go. It's nice and relatable. Yeah, so as you can see, this asset here is the trunk of the tree mapped on the first floor, and then we have on the floor above it another trunk slightly higher up, and then finally the canopy at the top. So this is mapped over 3 floors. But if you had roofs removed and they didn't have the visible setting on those upper scenery, they would be removed, and suddenly your entire tropical rainforest would become, well, your palm trees would all just become stumps, and that wouldn't be very good, would it? So you'll have that visible. If we go here, yeah, you can see the visible symbol there, placed over the top. They just give that. Let's make it so it's always visible. It's using other things as well. It's not just trees. Is the statue in Kren done that way? I suspect it is. So if we go to Rada, wait for the map square to load. Hope I clicked it. Let's double check. Okay, it's thinking about it. Let's give that time to think about it. And while it's doing that, I'm going to go and look at the chat. Audio is a location in the map editor. Audio is, so we can with floor decoration, so things like grass, we generally map down audio in that as well, so just sort of area effects and stuff like that. No, unfortunately the software is not open for all. It's an in-house tool for Jagex products. Doesn't look like it liked me opening up Kren, so I'm just gonna have to wait for that to think that through a second. But it's cool. We can answer some questions while that's going on. Heading off to sleep. Oh, have a good night. I hope you're staying safe down there in Australia. Yeah, you understood what visible. Yeah, is a strange reason. A strange reasoning why you'd want it. It's same with like another good thing. So if, for instance, I can't actually go back to my map now. Ah, goddamn Krend, it got me. So with so if you just imagine the wall, the way I put it there, I want people to walk across it now. Visiblo won't. Visiblo would work if you want to walk across it, so that should be fine. But yeah, if I wanted to, so currently we got the walls of the the outside walls. You'd be able to see inside them. So if I didn't want people to see inside them, I'd put that Visiblo on. But that might get in the way if you want to actually go underneath it. Okay, it's actually taking way too long now. I'm kind of thinking that maybe Perforce is thinking about it and doesn't want me to have that file for some specific reason. Actually, it's probably... Oh, this is annoying. Okay, we're just gonna have to wait. That's cool. We have plenty of questions. You would create you would be able to make bunch maps if you could have the editor. I agree. It would be cool to see what the players could make. How was quarantine treating you? Yeah, it's going alright. Not really left my town in about 40 days now. It feels a bit strange. But yeah, we're all in the same boat, right? So you want more of these sort of streams? Yeah, I'd love to do more of these streams. They do take time to set up, and we can't do them all the time. But yeah, I definitely want to do more. This is my first one for a good year and a bit, so that is definitely something I'm interested in doing more of. getting a bit worried now that this this isn't responding to me, and I'm not entirely sure why. It seems like I tried to load the middle of Krend, and it's taken a while to think about it. Obviously, you can't see the loading bar that I'm moving around the screen. I mean, I think it's 40 days. I'm not entirely sure what the exact number is, but yeah, I suppose those are rookie numbers. Oh, there we go. Suddenly decided to think about it. Thank God for that. And it also gave us Krend, so it wasn't all for naught. So yeah, as you can see here, the on the bottom floor, you can see the tops of these castle walls, and you can also see the entirety of this unbuilt statue, but you can't see any of the building upper floors over there. But then as I move up, those start to come into focus, but those don't. And the reason why that works is because there's no way of going inside these walls, so there's never reason to remove those roofs. If of course you wanted to go inside there, so like over here, you want to go inside this building, we can't visit below that. So yeah, that's the complexities of below, and I haven't even got to link below yet. We'll get to that. It will make a lot more sense when I'm actually creating what it's for, which will be this bridge out here. So, how are we doing so far? I just realised that this doesn't actually line up, and I don't know if that's annoying anyone's OCD, but it's kind of annoying mine. But it doesn't really need to line up. I mean, we don't need everything to be all fancy and neat necessarily. Anyway, I'm just going to throw in some. I mean, I might as well put blocking down there, unless we want to go inside that hallway, but I can't think of any good reason, so I might as well just leave that blocking there for now. Makes it look a bit more interesting as well. Sure, we could go inside there though, couldn't we? Could be used as a little storeroom. We'll come to that in the future, when it comes to it. Let's look at the chat for some questions. Thoughts on the asymmetry of the mansion? Oh, I hate it. So someone's pointing out this over here. I think it's this mansion. Oh, I just tried to load a map square again. That could have gone incredibly wrong. Yeah, this is annoying. Obviously, it makes sense. They wanted to put a 2-wide gate here next to a 1-wide tile walkway. It's painful to look at. It really is. Fix the mansion. I don't know if I could fix it, because I'd need to add it to the stream. I suppose I could fix it locally. I'm using the copy and paste feature here, just to show you what it could look like. I know there's a slight digression, but it's getting to me. So I'm just going to throw this here. So what you could do is you could remove that one. Actually, this just looks wrong. So actually, let's remove the large diagonal ones. Add that there, put that guy, oh, we want the 5, let's fix the terrain as well. Oh, I have blocking on still. Do I want that to be blocking? That one's blocking. Yeah, let's keep it blocking. I mean, that sort of fixes it. Obviously the gate doesn't line up now. The way to fix the gate would be to, replace it with one that's 1 by 1 for a start. Oh, in fact, does this gate even needed? I don't even know why there is a gate here. I mean, it could just be like that, right? Is there a quest involving this mansion? I don't remember ever needing to go into it. I only ever came here to kill those dogs. Make a bigger gate. Yeah, I mean, obviously, that could work. Well, what I was thinking, obviously, this fence here is currently used. Did I just bring that back as well? I did. This fence here could be turned into just like 2 posts with a gate in the middle, or maybe like. Well, this is whether you want the gate to open, because obviously a gate can't open halfway through a tile. So it either needs to be. Yeah, what would I do with that? I mean, personally, I was thinking of just putting 2 posts here with a gate in the middle, but I don't know if that would be good enough. Make all the fences gates. Make all the fences gates. Okay. It's a strange suggestion. What's this gate called? This is metal gate closed. Oh. So we have this cool feature where we can find and replace. There we go, close left. And I could do that. It doesn't look good though, does it? And it doesn't make any sense. Anyway, this is a nice little a nice little distraction. I actually got past 4 o'clock and I didn't even realise. So I was going to do a little break there and figure out where we're at. It's now 4:15, so let's do that now. First of all, oh, hydration, and also put the lid properly on your bowl. That'd be good advice for me. Fortunately, no problems. Didn't spill any water. Okay, let's also get rid of Arduin. People are laughing, hopefully at me. Looks like Smirnoff. No, it's just a bottle. Just water. Good old H2O. It's in a very strange bottle, I will give you that. It's got this like rubber top. Yeah, it's kind of weird. But it doesn't leak, that's why I bought it. Because, you know, I didn't want it leaking while it was in my bag as I commuted to work. Okay, so what have I got done so far? We have... So we have our main fortress here. I've yet to put the battlements on it. That's very silly. In fact, that's annoying me, so let's do that now as I talk about what we've got done so far. There we go. Just like that. Go to the right floor. Let's just quickly plonk these down here. Like so. I was trying to do this entire stream without saying the word plonk, and I've said it. Apparently it's a strange word if you're not British, I think. Cool. Swift. There we go. We got battlements. So we have our... Oh, we don't have battlements over here. Ah, amateur. There we go. Let's put those like so. Oh. Let's orientate them properly. Yeah. Great. So we have our main fort here. We have our mountain to the side here. Sort of natural fortification. I want to get a path along here at some point and maybe have like a secret way out and a secret way in, because you know you always got to have these secret ways in and outs. And then we've got the main entrance here, and then we've got a river here, and we're going to build a bridge. So we've got to do all that in, we have an hour and 45 minutes. I think that's sufficient. I might spend a bit less time polishing the very outsides of this map, but that's fine. We've got good time. Let's see what everyone's looking. Forgot a corner. Oh no, did I forget a corner? And oh no, too fast. So yeah, I've done this a lot in the past actually. So what happened there is we have as you can see, as I paint, let's turn that blocking off because we don't need that blocking on anymore. No change, like so. Yeah. So as you can see here, as I map them down, it sort of gives like a white outline to where the overlay is, and this is to help. Say if I was drawing a black overlay onto a black underlay, you wouldn't really be able to tell where they end. So we have this cool little feature to help show what that is, and it's yeah, as you can see, without it, it looks like that. But as you can see, with that turned on, it makes it quite hard to find where you've actually put walls. And so I managed to miss the fact that I didn't put one there, and unfortunately caused some cringe, and I apologise for that. While I'm here, might as well put the posts in as well. Oh, they're the wrong posts. Actually, that's kind of cool. Maybe I could have a... I don't know, maybe not. This is another... Yeah, let's just get rid of those actually, because they look a bit silly. But they could be holding up a roof. So potentially put little, maybe some straw roofs on top of the little straw... Or maybe I could put on that one. Yeah, we'll see what we're doing. Oh, hit load by accident. Let's get to the top of the map again. Oh, I haven't actually put a roof to the barracks yet. And those people are going to have... Well, if it rains, it's not going to do them any good, is it? So let's give them a roof. And back to the battlements. Quickly throw those up here. Sweet. So yeah, there we go. We've got a nice range of sizes here. I'm kind of tempted to bring this down a little bit, although I might not actually use the first floor inside the fort as like an actual floor, because I quite like how open this is. So I might like build like a gallery around here with like, sort of like a central location here. I haven't really decided what sort of rooms to have inside the castle yet. What is the chat saying? Good thing it never rains in Old School. It's a good point. Yeah, I suppose I could just leave the roof open. They'd have to just deal with it, I suppose. If it ever starts raining, well, they can just enjoy the fact that it's finally started to rain. It does snow though. You're right, it does. We could put snow in. I do not like the person who made the sheep herder quest. Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate. those those sheep surely don't like to listen, do they? Okay, so we've got the fort, we've got the structure down. We sort of have a good idea of what the area's going to look like. However, it is just all grey at the moment and it's looking a little dull. So we want to make it feel a little bit more. We don't just feel like the wilderness. We want to sort of have some northern Viking feels to it, and also some troll feel. So let's get a better colour in. So I'm going to go into terrain mode. I'm going to look for some mountain colour. So that's the colour of mountains. It's like a whatever that colour is, a sort of a dark. It's like a saturated brown. Go down to the bottom floor, and I'm going to go back to 3D view so I can see where I'm placing it. I'm just going to slightly put this on the mountainous area here to sort of bring that out, so that looks a bit brighter now, sort of stands out a bit more. That's quite nice. And we'll do the same with the water as well. You don't really generally have grey riverbeds. They're usually made of mud, and they're generally quite brown. So let's grab some mud, contact mud. That's actually quite a nice brown, although it doesn't really affect it too much. So we might want to have a bit more of a drastic impact, like that. Maybe that's too drastic. We can use multiple browns and we can blend this out. So how does this one look? It's a bit too saturated. In fact, maybe mountain. Let's go with this one. Let's just use it a lot less. And let's have some. What does mud want? If I put that on the outside, maybe. There we go. That sort of controls it a bit more. So as you can see, the colours there. This is sort of how we control that. Yeah, the brown's having quite a heavy effect on it, so I might. We can play around with it. Let's go through here. Let's get a bit of underlay. In fact, let's get the dark one first and go over it all, and then get the lighter one. Send that through the middle. You can't really see it, so what I'm going to do is turn off overlay for that. So currently we have like the ability to toggle things off. As you can see there, I can hide all the overlay to help me know where I'm putting this mud. So yeah, that's handy. That's got a slightly better blend to it now. Of course, the river is still very jagged at the moment, and we don't want that. And I also kind of want a slightly straighter bit of river right outside the castle. So let's go back into top-down mode, get to the bottom floor, and turn my river back on so I can see it. And let's just like even this up a little bit. So when you're making a bridge, I feel like it's always better to go from a nice straight edge to another straight edge, because if you're at like an angle, it can make the height mapping a bit more difficult. So let's just move that over there, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lower the water to the lowest setting. So there was a way. Yeah, I want to do this manually because the other way is doesn't always work. So a height map. Oh, don't want to put that down. Let's keep that up top. We want brush strength. So I'm used to using a 4K resolution, so everything's a lot more spread out, and I don't have to like zoom and scroll bars. But I didn't really believe that my internet is going to really be able to stream 4K, so I went down to 1080. So this is my brush size, this is my brush strength. So I'm at brush height of 27. But I can't actually see brush height. Why is that? Okay, I'm just going to go down manually. There we go. There we go. Fly 1. So that's not good. That's telling me that that's. Oh, I think I'm on increase. That's why I need to use height value. Yeah, it's my first day in the map editor. Yeah, it certainly feels that way sometimes. Okay, now I've got my slider that I was looking for earlier that I didn't know where it went. Okay, let's move that down to 1, no 0, and then there we go. Perfect. I'm sure that made no sense to anyone else except me. But it's cool. Okay, now I've set the brush up to work with rivers. So essentially I'm just setting it to the lowest value +1. And I'm just going to go over all the water and push that down. So I can use probably a slightly bigger brush, save me some time. You don't have to be too precious with it at this stage. We just sort of want to get a rough feel for it. So we just want to make sure all the water is flat and there's no lumps. Oh, let's check my posture. Don't want to be slouching. Check the... What am I making? I'm just making a small little environment. I've got another, about halfway through now, and sort of chosen through the straw polls we did earlier. We sort of set the scene, got a mood for it, some themes, and the theme we're going with is sort of Arctic, so it's going to be cold. There's going to be some trolls involved, well, some troll with mountains involved, and some Viking themes involved, as well as some wilderness themes, as we can see from the castle or fort I've built over there. Let's just clean up that mapping there, so it's a bit flatter. So this is where we're going to build our bridge. It is quite close to the edge of the map square. Not ideal, but not the end of the world. I'm actually looking at the wrong place. It's over here, isn't it? Cool. So how big is this? We have... Let's even this out a little bit. It's best to get your starting point from quite a flat ground, because bridges are kind of tedious. And we want them to match up as well, so let's get this at the same height as well. This might be... I might make this river a bit smaller so I got a bit more room. So let's just copy this area. Hopefully I had everything selected, and then I'm just going to move it over by 2. Yeah, that should be sufficient. And even up that a little bit, and fix this up. There we go. Sick. Let's get back into Author 3D and fix what I just did. Over here. Lower that. See, as you can see here, because that's part of the next map square, it's not letting me lower it, even though there isn't technically another map square there. And then what I can do once I've lowered it, I can just use the hold shift down, and I can just smooth the edges so it doesn't look quite so sharp. Obviously, at some point I will come in and smooth out the actual terrain, the shape itself, which I will show you once I've got the bridge done, because I feel like the bridge is going to be quite a cool feature. I am also suddenly realising that these walls aren't quite as necessary as a fortification now that there's actually a river here. It's actually quite a good place for a fort, really. Who'd have thought? Oh, I punned and I didn't even mean to. Okay, let's blur this off. Or blend this down. Actually, I might have a path that leads down here. That would be quite cool. Maybe even like a side gate as well could be built there, lead out over there into the wilderness. So let's grab those down as well. Still up as well. That one. I'm a very OCD about having non-flat water, because even then it has this sort of horrible blend as well when it's got too much of a variation. Let's have a quick look at the chat. Troll. What is this for? This is just it's just a bit of fun. It could, by the end of it, if there's something that we could use for a future update, I'm sure we will. It could be used as a potential LMS map if it ever comes to it. It could be used for all sorts of things, but it's just mostly just a bit of fun collaboration to show you how we sort of, how the map editor works and how buildings are assembled, essentially. As well as the terrain and all the different features that goes in. As you can see, we started with nothing, and now we've already got a nice little fort, we've got a river, and we have our Bobs keeping us company. And Bob over there on there, and also Bob, I think he's inside the wall now. Yeah, he's stuck there forever now. Let's just leave Bob in there. In fact, I think Bob's probably a bit bored, so let's give him a friend. What do we have there? Is that a bobcat? That's a bobcat. There we go. Is that a bobcat? Yeah, it's close enough. There we go. Bob's got a bobcat. Speaking of which, my cat is having some food. Yep. She's nice and happy down there. Although she's probably annoyed because she probably was asking for a treat earlier, and I just thought I've ignored her. Cool. What was I going to do next? Oh yeah, I was doing the bridge. Sorry, I got distracted. Give Bob a T-bow. I'm not giving Bob a T-bow. That'd be silly. What is he designing? What am I doing? I'm designing a... So the things that won the straw polls was a Arctic tundra area, so sort of climate biome. For the structure, it was a fort, and then for the final one, which was characters, we're gonna go with an evil Zamorakian vibe to it. So it will get a little dark, although it won't be. Zamorak isn't just. I mean, I feel like people that follow Zamorak aren't just purely evil, right? They gotta have something, have some sort of reason why they are that way. They gotta have belief in themselves, right? So I'm sure they aren't just, they're not the worst people, but they won't be the best people either. So probably some form of bandit, or I don't know, whatever I've already got, because I'm not making new configs, so whatever I can find in this long list of, well, not in this long list of cats, in this long list of NPCs. Okay, let's carry on with the bridge. I'm going to make the bridge with these assets. It's not usually how I would go about making a bridge, but that is how I'm going to be doing it. Oh, I think the cat wants to go out. What do you want? Okay. I will look at the chat while the cat requests the strokes. Gorak Temple. Yeah, that'd be quite cool. We do have that. Oh, she's going up back into the bed. There we go. If I move out the way, you might be able to see her. Pet the damn cat. I did. Is it possible to make a legit tunnel with how the map editor works? I don't know what you mean by a legitimate tunnel. I mean, technically, yeah. But if you want the roof of the tunnel to be blocking, as in like to never go away, it might be you might lose sight of your character for a bit, and I don't know if that's very good design. Like bore a hole in the mountain. Ah, like bore a hole in the mountain. I don't know if that's the same person that was talking about tunnels, but no, we definitely can't do that. The only thing we can do with the terrain is move it up and down. There is no way to cut into it, so to speak. There is ways to make it invisible. So I could, for instance, if I go into overlay mode and I find myself an invisible overlay, happily titled, well, usefully titled invisible, should I say. And if I put that down, that will technically cut that hole in the terrain that you were looking for. But that doesn't really mean you can go through it. You'd still walk across it. So yeah, like that. You can sort of, if I were to just do that, you can sort of see through it, but you can't be able to walk through it. So yeah, that is a definite limitation. Let's just undo that. Hi Studied. What is this place? This place doesn't actually have a name, so this is, yeah, it's just a nice little fort with a river outside. In fact, that river looks a bit too nice for this area, right? I did say it was temporary. I can do some find and replace. Let's get the Gunji water up. Gunji water, like so. There we go. That makes a lot more sense. You can't have these Amrakians having nice clean water, can you? They'll have a reason to be annoyed. Okay, let's this height mapping is a bit dodgy over here, so let's just sort of fix that up a little bit. How do you line up your river with another map? So if I were to open up another map square, I would be able to see this river here on the edge here if I'd lined them up properly, and then yeah, well, I could blend them quite easily. But I don't really want to be moving between too many map squares for now. Mostly because I've not really got it set up to work that way. I didn't save these maps out beforehand, which is a good thing to write down for future streams. Cool, that's a nice looking river. Now let's start the base of the bridge. So I'm going to move up to the floor above, and I'm going to take some terrain. I'm going to grab just the black, and I'm just going to draw a 3x3 wide block across, How's that lined up? It's not quite where I want it. I want it to be... Do I want it to line up with the gates? Yeah, my OCD is telling me yes. So as you can see, we have a bridge. This will be used as a bridge. As you can see, currently, if you want to get onto this bridge, it's a very strange looking bridge. It looks a bit inverted, and also the step up is yeah, it's not great, is it? So what we're going to do is we're going to make these meet the floor. So we're going to go to height mapping mode, and we're going to set the start of the bridge down to 0, or in this case 1, because that is the lowest value. So as you can see there, it's almost there. If I do it again, there we go, it's all flat. And the same thing for the other side. Perfect. So we have a way across. However, if I go down a floor, the bridge is gone. While if you create the bridge on the floor above, it's not really very much use there. So this is where the link below comes in. So we're going to go into the tile properties, and I'm going to turn on link below. It's this yellow triangle. And click add. And now when I paint over, it puts down those little yellow triangles. And now what this is telling the engine is, hey, this part of this floor needs to be on the floor below. So then when I go to the floor below, it persists. And you can happily, as soon as you get to this tile here, you're on, it will, as soon as you go over here, it will walk you onto that floor, technically the floor above, and you can cross the bridge. Of course, this bridge is a bit dull looking, it's just sort of, an empty void at the moment, so let's give it some properties. Let's do that with... See what I could do with these wall kits first. Will I be able to build? There's the question. So this is going to be a little easier out of ortho mode. So I'm going to go back here, go down a floor. Let's see what this looks like when I build it like that. So that's kind of working, as you can see. Although I can only see one part of it. That's weird. Huh. That's actually... yeah, okay, cool, just learned something myself. Apparently a type 3 looks like a type 1 when placed underneath link below. In fact, I don't think I should really be putting type 1s under there. I might just do it with type 4s. That might look a bit better. Here we go, we'll just use posts across this river. So it's 3x3. Oh no, 3x3, it's 3 wide even. So we got those there. Obviously it doesn't have much depth to it, but we can solve that at a later date if needed. Let's change the colour. I don't think it actually needs to be quite so wide, so you can lower that by 1. The black isn't great because it's pure black, and we want it to be like a dark grey. So let's go with dark stone. That's perfect. There we go. And now let's grab my battlements, and they will make good walls to this bridge, like so. One man's battlements, there's another man's low fence. Or low wall, in this case. Actually flip these round so they take up more of the edges. I mean, these aren't the thickest pillars. I would probably replace them with a little bit more of a solidified one in the future. But that is a good way of like just showing the basics of how a bridge is made. So yeah, essentially you map it on the floor above and then use some wizardry to get it on the floor below. And we got ourselves a bridge outside our fort. And it's all come together quite nicely. Oh, I pressed F12. That was a mistake. Did you see that? Doesn't look like it, that's good. Cool, let's add a little bit more polish to this river, because at the moment, as you can see, it's very square, it doesn't look very good. So this is a painful process of smoothing out the river with different shapes. However, there is shortcuts to make this a lot easier. So this is where I want to get on the shapes. As you can see already, I've been painting down a lot of just solid square blocks. Before we go on, let's just turn off link below because I don't need that anymore. And let's get the black again, so it's a bit easier to see. So we have, in fact, let's turn on the outline as well. That makes it a bit easier. So we got the first type, which is just a square, and the second one, which is a diagonal. Let's get a bit closer down here. And then we have, so that's a diagonal over one tile, but we also have a diagonal over two tiles, but obviously that requires two different types. So we have the first part, and then the second part. And fortunately we have a little tool that just has those pre-made, so we can, for instance, take this shape, I can colour pick the water, and then I can just start smoothing this out like so. So I wanted to use a mixture of different shapes. I don't want to just use like 2 diagonals and 1 diagonal, so it gives it a bit more of a natural flow. That actually looks a bit rigid there, so it's just make that a little bit nicer. I'm not going to spend too much time polishing this. It's just to give you sort of a general idea of how the rivers turn out so smooth at the end. And yeah, done. Sweet. That's one side of the river done. Or one side of that side of one part of the river done, should I say? Move on to the next part. That one looks a bit strange. I mean, yeah, I try not to go into too much detail with this bridge, with this river even, but I am a bit of a stickler for neatness. Okay, let's just go through that. Can do a double there. Flip that round, like so. Cool. While I do this, let's get another question. Do you use any other games, movies, books for inspiration when creating new areas? Ah, that's a great question. I do. As you might have could maybe tell from the bookshelf behind me, I read a lot of books, and I do have a problem where I generally just read fantasy books. And yeah, I take quite a lot of inspiration from those books. You wouldn't have maybe thought that maybe books would be the best place to get inspiration from, given that it's not very visual, but it actually gets your imagination going a lot better than just being shown the image, because it describes it to you instead, and you're like, oh, what could that look like? Yeah, I'd say that's generally where I get most of my inspiration from. I also have this really cool plugin which hooks up to ArtStation, so whenever I open up a new tab, it shows me a really nice piece of artwork, and that's great for inspiration as well. Fantasizing about what? You know, how the areas could look. So I've got, to point out some series back here, I've got like Song of Ice and Fire, The Wheel of Time, Dark Tower, all these quite impressive, you know, big fantasy novels. Fantasy. Okay, I'm sorry if my breathing's quite loud. That is a concern of mine. Maybe if I just move this further away from my mouth. But I worry about not being heard at all, which might be worse. But I'll try to breathe less. Just a sensitive mic. Yeah, it is. I haven't been running. Last time I went for a run was a few days ago. Sweet. Have I read Berserk? I have. Well, I haven't read Berserk. I actually watched Berserk. I don't really read the mangas, but the animes are very, very good. Just stop breathing. Yeah, simple, right? Let me just try that for a few seconds. Okay, I think that's. Oh no, we've still got this corner to do. Let's quickly get this this river. I keep calling it a bridge. Some wires across there, that's for sure. And a fire single one there, and let's get that round. Where am I going? Forgetting what the shortcuts are. Looking at them doesn't really help because there's muscle memory at this point. Does that look good? That looks a bit weird. Let's just make it straight. There we go. Oh, and that's perfect. Cool. As you can see, there is still a little bit of shading that's going onto the river there, which doesn't really look ideal, and we can reduce that by just blending this off a little bit. So as you can see, what you don't want to do though is make the water less flat. So let's just slowly blend around here. There we go. You can still see a little bit there. Maybe. There we go. I just want this awkward shading between the terrain and the overlay, or the river. I just want to reduce that as much as possible. Oh, and I'll lean back as well. Fix my posture. And this side over here, it's quite bad. bad over there as well. Although it's towards the edge of the map, so I might not have quite as much control. Yeah, that's fine. Flatten that a bit out. Let's blend that down. Where are we at? We're at 4:45. If my hopefully my connection stays quite strong, but I can imagine my internet's going to start to chug at some point as the as it gets a lot more busy out there. Let's flatten that out because that looked a bit silly, didn't it? Yeah, it was all stretched up there. We don't want that. Okay. No, we don't want to flatten that. Let's just blend it a little bit. Cool. So there we have our finished river. Oh, I say finished river. Our smoothed out river. So now if we go get the top floor in again. So just as a quick reminder, this is like just a little bit of a fun mapping collaborative project that we're doing over the next few hours. We are over halfway now. We straw polled what sort of direction you wanted me to go in, and we decided on sort of like an Arctic, sort of wild, Viking-esque space. It was going to be a fort, this is the fort, and the characters are going to be quite evil. So that is where we are going with this. I want to start decorating this central part a bit more because this is feeling a little dull, and I'm very much thinking of the time that we have left. So let's first of all go back into top-down mode, and let's make this entrance a bit more grander. So a slightly larger doorway because 3 wide is much better than 1. Pardon. I'm just going to get a rough path in here. So we want sort of a central courtyard area, but we don't have too much space to play with, so be quite careful. I never actually put down that furnace, did I? I'm just very easily distracted. Okay, let's just grab a furnace quickly. We don't need the blast furnace. This one looks quite nice, but we shouldn't use that one. Let's just generic one. Yep, generic furnace. There we go. Furnaces are quite big, to be expected. Yeah, that's fine. It fits in that corner quite nicely, and then we can have an anvil over here. Just sort of building out a fancy little, blacksmith shop there. I do kind of want to have I did mention this earlier, sort of like a straw roof, but I don't know if that's going to work. If I want to, I don't really have time to replace the wall kit at this stage, so yeah, we can maybe I can build like some more little houses around here, make it feel a little bit more. So like this is sort of the fort owned by the person that sort of rules the town, maybe like a baron, and maybe we can push some houses outside here, just like little rundown huts and stuff like that. Let's have a look at that. OP smith room. It is OP, isn't it? Yeah, you can smith and you can use your furnace and your anvil at the same time. That'd be handy, wouldn't it? But given that this is just for themes, it's not too bad, too important. If obviously this goes in game, and if it were to go in game, we would obviously fix it up a little bit, maybe remove the anvil, or make them uninteractable. But prefer not to do that sort of stuff. Let's get some set decoration. So the best set decoration is crate. Crate is life. So let's just start with those two are quite. Yeah, just go with. Yeah, these ones are quite. Yeah, how do they look? Yeah, that's fine. Cool. We got some crates. Let's just put these down. So we got a variation there. We have one stacked. They are different in colour, which I don't particularly like. But that's not the end of the world. My stream is. Where's Modash? I assume Modash is at home, as we all should be. Yeah, here we go. Perfect time for a question. What's your favourite piece of content you've worked on? Oh, I've answered this a lot recently. What did I say? Oh yeah, treasure trails. That's always my favourite thing to work on. Well, it's not always. It's one of my favourite things to work on. It might just remind me of the first thing I worked on, because it was one of the first things I did when I worked at Jagex. But just the project is quite nice because it's very. It's a mixture of lots of different styles. It's just generally cosmetic items, and you go to Reddit and social media and get some cool ideas from the community, and then you just get to go wild, really. So it's quite fun. Oh, the music stopped. That is not good. I will need to figure out how to get that back up. If I just go like that. I don't know if that's restart the music or not. I'm going to check. Give me a second. Nope, I don't think it has. There we go. I've been told how to do it. Just bear with me 1 second. Oh wait, I didn't actually do anything, did I? Yeah, okay. I know why that didn't work, what I just tried to do. Okay. I think that's done it. Maybe not. This is a great stream. It's really silent now, isn't it? I just realised that. Okay, let's just transition to this. That does not restart the audio. That's annoying. Oh no, wait, that did restart the audio. Oh, no, okay, I think it's working now. I'm gonna just sound stupid for a little bit now because I was listening to my delay, which is never good. Cool. Okay, let's just look at some questions while I'm here. Would it be easy to add an agility shortcut to climb over the wall on the north side there? Oh, for sure. Oh, well, I mean, for sure. If a developer gave me the location to map down, then yeah, it would be very easy. I could just do bang, and it's there. But yeah, I wouldn't be able to program that right now. But I could certainly create an area where what you said to the north, but there isn't really a wall to the north. Maybe this one to the south. But yeah, we could, to be fair, grapple would work quite nicely. But the location would have to be set up specifically for that, because the way the grapple works is actually built into the location, because otherwise the rendering wouldn't really work very well. So you've actually got like a piece of wall kit with a grapple that sort of goes over it, attaches to it, and then you climb up it. We could do different ones. I suppose like a squeeze through would probably be a little bit easier to set up. Sweet. Let's look for another question. Oh, someone's doing a medium clue right now. Good luck for Rangers. Be interested to know if you've had any yet and at what number you're at. I can't actually remember what when I got my Rangers, but I think they were at clue 250 or around that. So yeah, not great, but not too bad. I quite like doing clue scrolls. Yeah, to go on from my favourite project to work on, I also really like doing like the activities as well, like clue scrolls and implings are just some of my favourite content. So maybe a biased reason why I like doing clue scrolls and like making the rewards. Okay, so I got those crates, but I didn't like them because they're 2 different colours, and that's just not good enough. Do we have like a million crates? I'm at the moment going through them all and trying to figure out exactly how many we have. I am the reason for a few of them. So yeah, we need to sort of get this a bit more consistent. As you can see here, just going through all the different crates, we have various different styles. All very different. Oh, and craters, not quite crates, but yeah. That's quite a nice colour actually. It's quite dark as well. I mean, I suppose that is in the name. Ah, perfect. Oh, they actually match that wood as well. Ish. Yeah, almost. So yeah, crates and also barrels are a great way of adding scenery and quick character to an area. So, what sort of barrel do we want? Oh, a nice broken one. And then, how does that one look? A completely different colour wood though. I kind of want some parity there, so let's actually find a... how about that one? Yeah, that one works. Actually, how do the Shazian barrels look? I remember those. There's quite a few options for those, I think. Shazian barrel. Oh, they're quite bright actually. And there's just ones with a tap and one without, and then there's one stacked. No, they're different. I don't really like mixing wood colours. I don't know, there probably will be some mixing of wood colours here because I'm just using assets from all over the place. But generally, after I'd done that, I would then go through and make sure that it's all matched up. But for now, we'll just sort of have to deal with a bit of a mix-up. I want to remove all these extraneous bobs. In fact, let's leave one inside there, just as a little Easter egg. And yeah, leave him up there for that one. He was just in the way at the time. We needed to put down some barrels. So So given that this is a blacksmith, we probably want some blacksmith-related scenery, not just an anvil and a furnace, but we probably want some things on the wall. Fortunately, the place in Varrock is a good place to find some inspiration. So let's load up the Varrock map square. While I do that, let's look over at some questions. Hey Modwest, are there agility scroll colour variants in the working? There is. With Darkmire and the Hallowed's Polka, you will be able to unlock a new colour of your scroll. So yeah. What that look forward to, right. Let's take a... oh yeah, it's loaded. It probably loaded quite quickly, didn't it? I just wasn't paying attention. Cool, so we have the furnace here in Varrock, and there's some nice scenery here. I'm going to steal. So first of all we have a pile of iron bars. That's cool, let's take that. We don't need Brimhaven anymore, you can go away. Forgot that was actually open. Cool, so let's just put a few stacks of bars there. What else we got? We got a lathe. Is that a lathe? That is, with the greatest description ever. Do we want the lathe? I don't really think we have room for the lathe. I don't really think we need a lathe either. Go away, lathe. Let's get something a bit more interesting, like a workbench. Yeah, you definitely need a workbench. If you don't have a lathe, you need a workbench. Yeah, you want the clamp to be on the right side, that'd be good. Let's move the anvil out so it's got a bit more room. I also realised that yeah, let's remove those, I don't need those anymore. There's also other shapes as well that I didn't mention, aside from the two diagonal one. There's also the, yeah, I'm jumping to a completely different thing again. It's kind of, my brain can't really stay on one thing at once. It's just the way of things. So yeah, we've got this sort of internal corner here. I like these because if you put them into a shape of 4, it makes a nice Saradomin star. And then you've got the opposite of that, so literally a curve, so it makes a circle. Yeah, and then we just have a half tile size, so much like the one tile, you can also do a little colour overlay of half tiles. Then we have filler as well, so we have, you can do like diagonals like that as well. I don't even know how you would even, I don't know what you'd even call those. Yeah, it's just to help making paths a little bit less grid based, and then we also have these quick path features as well. So what I could do, if I'm so pleased, let's figure out a path colour first. Let's go with mud, probably the best thing. Like that. There we go. So we could make a little courtyard quite quickly. Like that. That's quite cool. Change back to a 1. And just fill in the inside. So yeah. Some more shapes that I forgot to tell you about. Designed some new range gloves. Yeah, especially not had range gloves for a while, but there are certainly reasons for that. Some question about the power of range at the top level at the moment. I won't get into it now, because this is just an environment design stream, not so much a weapon design stream. But yeah, we're definitely thinking about it, and we've definitely pitched new range gloves in the past. I would say, as an artist, gloves are probably the worst thing to sit down to design, because there's very little to play around with when it comes to characters' hands. In case you noticed, they don't really have hands. They just have, like, you know, fists, but yeah, not really hands, are they? What am I making, Mr. Muffin? I am working on a little environment. It's not necessarily for anything specific. It's just a cool little collaborative stream that we're doing. We sort of, at the start of the stream, we decided through via straw poll what sort of direction I'm going to head in, and we decided on a Arctic wilderness, you know, Fremnikian biome climate area. So it's, like, you know, cold. And the structure itself is a medium-sized fort. And then sort of the characters we're going to fill in here are some evil Zamorakians. So that's actually a good segue into giving Bob a few more companions. So let's just get some... Do we have some Zamorakian monks? It'd probably help if I type in Zamorakian sort of monk, actually. don't have anything. I suppose they're not called Zemrak, are they? Probably like Chaos Druids. Yeah. Oh, good, not in there. There we go. Chaos. Nope. Druid. Nope, I'm not on NPC anymore. That would help. There we go. Got myself a Chaos Druid. Let's throw some of these guys down. We won't want too many. Let's just put 2. Let's have a nice mixture actually. We want some knights as well. Let's just go with some Dark Warriors. Dark. There we go, there's one. What are they called? Dark Warrior. There we go. So yeah, I'm going to use generic mobs because I don't really have the ability to create proper configs for NPCs in the map editor alone. And I don't really want to be jumping between script files, and it's not really that entertaining to watch, nothing really visual to look at. So I'm just going to throw down some characters. Unfortunately, all characters are sort of face south by default. They do slightly idle, so there is a little bit of movement there. Yeah, there's a few of those. Let's actually put... actually, let's throw these knights outside, so they sort of feel like they're guarding the area. And maybe like a few in here. I haven't really figured out what I'm actually doing with this, so I probably should, as we only have an hour left. In fact, that's a good point. Let's figure out what we're doing with that. We've got a few characters in. We've given this a few more props. In fact, let's give it a few more walls. Yeah, I'm just jumping through everything. This is kind of how I decorate my scenes anyway. I just hop between parts until it's all looking quite nice. Let's go back to Varrock. What have we got on the walls? We have some first aid and some hammers. Yep, hammers, that's what we need. I don't think Zemrakians are too bothered with first aid though. So we're going to, as you can see that, it's sort of in the wall a little bit, and that's because it's a piece of wall decoration and it's trying to occupy the same space as the wall. So I'm going to have to swap over to a type W, which just gives it that slight bit of lift out of the wall. So that's nice there. You can't, you only just really see that, but it's just little details that help. What else we got? We got a, there's so many different bits of scenery here. We even got coal in a barrel. That's quite cool. We can put that. It's quite coal even, should I say. Let's put that down in the corner there. There was some barrels. Yeah, that's cool. It makes sense. And let's have a quick look over at the chat. The stream is so offensive to Zemrakians. Oh, I'm sorry, Zemrakians. I mean, what can I say? I mean, they sort of, I don't know, they didn't want to be treated so badly. Zemrak did nothing wrong. Okay, if you think that. Throw Zuck in there somewhere. Don't know if he'd really matched the area that well. Zemi Warriors at the ZMI, that's a good chow. What do they look like? Are they the runners? Oh no, they're the guys with the yeah, I think I know who you're on about. Oh yeah, these guys. They do look cool. Let's put him down. In fact, let's get them inside the castle. Yeah, I want to put these guys inside the castle, but for now, just so I can remember I have them here. Oh, that's weird. I've not seen that guy. He's wearing rock shell and spined that's been recoloured to look like dragon. That's interesting. Oh, he's got split bark. Oh, and I hadn't really looked at those guys in detail for a while, but yeah, he's wearing recoloured split bark, and he's wearing recoloured like Viking armour. Viking armor, Fremnik armor. Same thing. Okay, so let's have this. Yeah, I said something about this being a gallery at the beginning, so let's actually show you what I mean by that. So I want the steps to be in the corners. Don't know if it needs to be in every corner. Maybe just a few of them. This floor as well isn't very good. So let's change all the instances of the black underlay to dark stone, because it just looks a little bit nicer. All levels. Sweet. There we go. Yeah, that definitely looks better. Do I want the gallery to be all stone though? Maybe. Yeah, let's go with that for now. We can change that later. I've still got the black sighted amateur. Cool, there we go. So this is what I was thinking. We can sort of add like a walkway around the edge, but leave the central part quite open. I think that will look quite cool. And let's just use the battlements for now, as we have them. They're ready. In fact, let's map them on the outside, just to give that extra bit of room. Oh, I think I might have just deleted some of the wall. I did. Always be careful when you're deleting things. Okay, map those in there, in there, and there. And let's get the corners in, and not forget any, because that would be cringe. Sweet, and now this actually gives us an opportunity to show some supporting beams as well. So, let's grab ourselves a post. Just have a basic wooden post. Maybe once a little goblin, maybe. Yep, that works. Although it probably wants to be in that corner. Like so, yep. Sweet. So I was thinking maybe. I'm also noticing that I'm thinking maybe quite a lot. So a banquet, that's what I want. So we need a long table. I'm pretty sure we have assets for that. Probably not called long table though. Black Warriors Fortress 2. It is looking a little Black Warriors Fortress 2. It is technically a fort, but I won't say it's a fortress. It's a bit smaller than that. Oh, it's got this outside wall. Yeah, sort of being a bit. Lava. Ooh, some lava could be quite good. I want this to feel a bit more Arctic. So at the moment it's got a mountain on there. Do we have a slightly brighter mountain colour? We do. So if I sort of, as you can start to see, it's started to bring in. It's not a very nice blend, that isn't. But in fact, let's replace that with snow instead. Snow? No, it's probably called ice, isn't it? It is. Cool, let's just throw some ice up here. Yep, let's sort of top that a little bit with some snow. Makes it feel a little colder, and it means the building will pop out from the background a little bit nicer as well. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to really be able to decorate as much around here as I'd have liked. But that's fine. We'll focus on this single structure. And who knows, we could come back in the future for another design stream to finish this off. We still have 50 minutes, so plenty of time to polish things up. Let's look at another question. West, is this the map editor that had the really scuffed undo feature that had to be rewritten? It is. So the previous version of the map editor had that problem where you'd undo and it would just undo everything you'd done in that mode, I think, and it didn't just do the last thing you did, which would get quite confusing. Fortunately, this new map editor doesn't have quite the same problem. We can undo to our heart's content. In fact, it took me quite a while just to sort of stop cringing every time I undid something. But yeah, I'm over at that now, and I'd actually kind of forgotten that used to be a thing. So that's good. How are we looking? Oh yeah, got distracted again, looking for a long table. Where's a good long table? Because I don't want to. I know there is one inside. Is that brown? No. Give me a second to locate the. There we go. Oh, they don't have a. Oh, that's not a round. That's a round table. Will that fit? It looks a bit chunky. Oh my god, it takes up most of the room. It's kind of cool though. It's the table from the inside of the, where is this? Tavoli Dungeon, that's the one. Oh, these are the long tables I was thinking of, but not that colour. Oh yeah, those are specifically... Oh, they're actually called long table. Wow, and I thought that was a silly name. Okay, let's just take these for now. We don't need it to be the correct colour. We can always fix that at a later date. That big round table was a bit much. We want a central walkway, right? I think there might be too many. But this castle isn't really. Maybe this shouldn't be. Maybe this fort isn't really big enough for a nice banquet room like this. Maybe it should be a bit more personal. Let's see what we can fit. Let's get some. Let's see what it looks like with a throne. but not that throne. Because that one is even, and we need something odd. That's probably going to be even as well, isn't it? There we go, that'll do. Doesn't look very evil though. There you go, that's better. So if that's your... oh, they're saying that. Maybe it would be... what's the chat saying? What about Arthur's round table? That might... oh, did I not? I didn't. That might be the same size as that one. Let's have a look. I assume it's a similar asset, because I believe... oh no, it wouldn't be. Oh, that's a very nice one actually. And it's a very specific table though. Oh, I think it's the same size. Oh, that's a shame. Is it the same size? Oh, it is. Exactly the same size. It does look cool. I'm just thinking that this maybe shouldn't just be one singular room. Oh no, I think maybe it should be. Maybe like I need just normal tables like this towards the side. Maybe those ones just seemed a bit too fancy. And we can like do something like this maybe. Have a bit more space between them. That could work. Let's move it down a little bit so there's more. I don't know if there's not enough space between the throne and the chairs, or the tables, and then the doors and the tables. Just coming straight into the dining room. Well, not dining room, the banquet room. But I suppose that is all it's used for. And then we have a gallery up here as well. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need to make this bit bigger. I can do that. So let's copy all that. All levels. Yep. How big do we want it? That much bigger? Okay, we've got a few things that we need to fix. And now, if we go back to this floor, that should give me enough room now. Oh, I've got too many pillars. There we go. That's a bit nicer. A bit more breathing space. And now once I got the chairs in, let's just use these ones. I mean, I don't need to have them all looking the same, but for now, that would do. Cool. So we have a way of walking down the middle still. Actually, maybe those ones on the outside just aren't needed. Yeah, that looks a lot nicer actually. Sweet. And now let's get a rug. Should we use this one I made for the PvP arena? That was quite successful. Yeah, let's use that. I mean, maybe the gold isn't very Zamarican, but the red is. Always replace it with one that's slightly better fitting at a later date. Oh, actually, that's a bit too bright, isn't it? Yeah, let's just get a standard rug. I says standard rug as if that sort of thing exists. We have. Oh, don't look at that. There we go. That's still got gold in it though. I'm pretty sure I made a Zemaric one, didn't I? For sleep. Let's go and grab that. So we're going to sleep. Bear with me for a second. Oh, I haven't really mapped that one out very well, have I? But that'll do. Leaked. Yeah, but what did I leak? That's the question. I might keep this area up actually, because there's some quite nice, evil-looking. Well, actually, those rugs, that right there. That's what I want. Although, does that blend in too much? Potentially. We can always find a place afterwards if we need to. Let's get rid of sleep, we don't need that. Lumbridge. I'm just going to quickly look over for the stream. Where will this map reside? There's no plan for it at the moment. It might be used in a future as a future LMS map if needed. It'd have to be reworked slightly for that to work, because we want to really take into account the flow and the flow of where players can be, and also like different locations. Obviously this would be a central location. We'd probably reduce the, improve the flow around here and not have so much blocking. But yeah, I could definitely see use of this in the future, but currently there's no plans. It's just a little fun 3-hour environment collaborative project that we're doing, and here we have another 45 minutes, which is great. Oh, I noticed the top there's got a bit of a problem, so let's fix that up. Sweet, and that floor looks like that. Let's throw in some staircases, so these so you can actually get between these floors. There's a nice spiral staircase for the Dark Wizards. Let's use that one. Dark Wizards Tower. In fact, let's grab some Dark Wizards while we're here as well. Steal you. Cool. Got that, and then that. Oh, that's actually not a great spiral staircase because it's a completely different colour. Let's see what it looks like first. It's also too tall as well. Wow, it sort of failed it every step of the way. And I punned again by accident. I promise these are accidents. We want it to be facing that way, don't we? Although it doesn't really look that great with that bar there. Well, that post there. What's the chat saying? A demon greenhouse. Interesting. Add cannons to the upper floor. I always found cannons a bit strange in RuneScape. I know it makes sort of sense, we got pirates and stuff, but always found the overlap a bit strange. What nice cannons we got. It's your generic cannon. Let's go with that. Oh, they are too wide. As in they're the units too wide, not as in they're too wide. I mean, they are sort of still too wide, and also you're sort of firing into the wall, which is a bit of a problem. I don't know how I feel about cannons actually. Let's just put like, oh, I can't even put them there, can I? Just put like 2 on the on his roof, and I don't know. There we go. We got, you know, for warning shots, fire a few off. And let's also give them some cannonballs, because, you know, you need ammunition, right? Perfect. Some other suggestions. Fires on the corners. Ooh. We can add some torches, that's for sure. Let's find a nice torch. I've made many of the. Have I made many of these? I don't think so. So I don't really know what to look for. I just want like the chunkiest one, really. How does that look? Oh, that's definitely on the wrong floor. You can sort of see that. However, it is green. I don't like that it's green. Ah, it's because it's for the Slayer torch. That's why. Let's try candles. How about a standing torch instead? Oh, that's got blue fire. That's one from Brimstone. Don't want that. Yeah, there we go. What about something? Maybe for a few of those outside as well. Doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical. Yeah, it's too far from the wall there. There we go. Yeah, so it's symmetrical. Accidentally delete the wrong thing there. Let's move that guy over. Sweet. Let's. What do we want to work on next? Let's look for some inspiration. Statues, specifically of Zamorak. We could look for some. Oh, we could find some flags maybe. What have we got? Oh, don't move that. We got some plaques used for the player and house. We got some symbols. I mean, how does that look? Oh, lost it. I mean, that's a bit on the nose, but we can just put some Zamorak symbols on there. In fact, while I'm here, let's give this place some windows. So we have the normal type of wall, and we also have shuttered. So let's replace a few of those so you can get some light. Although would the bottom floors have them? Probably not, but I put them there, so they got them. And same for these. Space them out so they don't look like they're all too close together. Oh, this is slightly different scaling. Let's put 3 on the front. Oh, I mapped those on the outside when they should be on the inside. Oh, I did it for all of them as well. Oh, I literally did it for all of them. Good thing I'm paying attention. I didn't do that on the bottom floor. Interesting. There you go, it looks a bit nicer now. There's, oh, and that top building as well. Oh, I haven't really figured out what I'm going to do with that. I hadn't really thought about it. In fact, there's actually no way in. Yeah, let's actually, yeah, let's do. In fact, there's no way up either. In fact, these are going to be spirals, so they go all the way to the top. So I assume the entrances would be over here. But that doesn't really work. It needs to be pushed up against the wall, doesn't it? So let's finish looking for a spiral staircase. Find one that is the correct colour. Only one L. There we go. Oh, perfect. Don't know what that's for. Doesn't matter. And it's still slightly too tall, but let's see if that's a problem. It might not be. So now I'm going to cut a hole in here. Oh, I'm not cutting a hole in there, am I? Ah, there we go. Need to select it first. There we go. So now you have a hole there. Let's grab the same location for the next floor. I think it needs to rotate though. So it matches up. That sort of matches up. And then we want a top. Yep, like that. And we want to be able to get outside there as well. There we go. So there we go, we have a spiral staircase. Oh, I think I'm missing a piece actually. I think another piece fits in here. There we go. Sort of matches up. Yeah, it would do for now. Yeah, it's bound to be a little. I mean, if I'd mapped the walls on the outside, that wouldn't have been a problem. Live and learn. What's the chat saying? So someone is thinking that, yeah, definitely. If this was available to the players, we'd have some great creations coming in. But unfortunately, it is too tied to our back-end systems for now. But yeah, if there's any other movement on that, I'll definitely be a proponent for it. Hi, these tools are not for players, unfortunately. Zamorak demands more bloodstains. Oh. You know what? Ask and you'll get. We have lots of blood. So let's just throw some blood down. Don't know what they've been doing, but I suppose fighting, murdering, the usual. So I'm just throwing down a couple of blood splatters here around the entrance, just to so looks like there's been a fight. It looks a bit brutal actually. Yeah, I could do that quickly. I might add a few. While I am here, decorating the floor is a good way to quickly add a lot of polish to an area. So let's throw down some soil. We have like a million different soil types, so let's just find a nice one that fits. That is a similar colour, so I will use that. So I'm just going to decorate around here. I'm just using the square brackets to rotate them so they don't all have the exact same orientation. So this is called Dug Up Soil 2 Light. So these are named horrendously. I'm just going to look for the light one, aren't I? Here we go. Throw some out on the path as well, like so. There we go. We have some soil. Oh, a dead skeleton. Yeah, we're coming up with some great ideas now, guys. Keep them coming. Let's get some skeletons down. What colour skeletons do we want? Chicken Quest has some nice ones, so let's throw that. I don't know why someone's just left the skeleton in the corner, but they have done. Maybe there's like been a big fight outside recently, so let's just litter the floor out here with some dead bodies. Imprisoned gnome child. Yeah, I can do that. If that's what you want. We've got like a sitting guy. Here we go. Get some bodies sitting up against the wall. These people don't like to clean up their dead bodies. They like to leave them out to scare any passerbys. Let's throw some blood out here as well. And that one as well. Sweet, as you can see, it's already coming together. Look at that. We've got some dead bodies. We've got a bit of floor decoration. I want to add some grass, but I don't want it to be bright grass because that's not really the style we're going for here. And I think the lunar grass is quite, yep, perfect. It's very, as you can see here, I'm going to zoom in. It's very desaturated grass, so it would fit this area quite nicely. Awesome, let's get some of that down. I tend to like to map my grass quite close to the walls, to sort of give the fact that it's built up around areas like that. Also near rivers as well, it's quite handy, so you can do stuff like that. So it sort of feels like it's maybe not into the river. So let's just throw down a few patches. To just initially throw down some patches in just clumps of 4 2x2 grids, like so. Throw some on the inside as well. Just gives a bit more. Oh, the terrain won't be completely grey by the end of it. That's outside the door. It's probably not a great place for it. Let's get it there, and we can make. Who made the Chrome dungeon inside? The interiors of the Chrome dungeon were done by Mod Rye. And some trees. Ah, yes, trees. Why have I not done trees yet? That's like basic mapping 101. Let's get some dead ones. Luckily, yeah, it's called Dead Tree 1. Is that the right one? There we go. Throw a few of these out here. Just get a few around here. Probably throw down some grass as well. Not grass, broken twigs and stuff like that. You see, trees instantly make things start to look a little bit nicer. Let's get a bit of variation as well. We have the smaller dead tree. Is that the darker one? There we go. I tend to just pair trees together, make little clumps of them, like so. And another way, it's nice to put smaller things next to larger things to get that fall off quite nicely. Same with little leafless bushes. I might find a few of those as well. So, leafless bush, what we got? There we go. So yeah, that will throw those down here as well. Maybe throw one of those in the courtyard. They've not really been clearing up after themselves or taken, doing much weeding. So let's throw down maybe a tree in here as well. You can't really see that, can you? Yeah, this floor's a bit dark. Let's throw in some of this patch that's brown, just to lift the area a bit more. Oh, that doesn't look good at all. There we go. Probably done it over there as well, didn't I? I did. You gotta be careful. Sometimes, yeah, you can create some strange blending. Oh, you see. Let's turn off the overlay. Yeah, I've put a few things too close to each other there to make too much of a difference. It's not really doing enough. Actually, maybe I do want to do more of a difference. Let's maybe, yeah, let's put that back. It's just going to not blend too well with the snow, well, the lighter area too well. So let's just be careful about that. There we go. The courtyard looks a bit better now. It's actually Yeah, do that to those as well, because these parts are obviously on packed earth. Oh, yeah, let's just do it for that. Okay, cool. That makes it looks a bit nicer now. Let's get the floor, all the floors in. See, as I said, it comes together quite quickly. Just start adding scenery. So have a look back at the chat. What's everyone doing? So how's everyone doing? Should I say? The world building stuff's so cool. It really is. I do. This sort of part of my favourite part of building environment is just sort of the world building and sort of making it make logical sense. Yeah, it's good fun. So yeah, trying to think of things like furnaces, what sort of buildings would be here, who would be where, what are they doing, why is that specific object in that corner, stuff like that. It's good to think about. In fact, while we're here, let's add a few more scenery items to the upper floors. So people are probably just leaving crates around, probably not in front of windows though. So let's put a crate there, and a single one next to it. There we go. Let's like pretty up some of these corners as well. So crates and barrels are a good way of filling areas quickly. And I assume that's why we have so many of them. Because everybody wants to have their own barrel, their own crate. Let's also put these stairs over here as well. So these ones you're going to enter from here. Let's rotate that 180. Yeah. Oh no, wait, not quite. So this one's facing north, that one's facing west, and that one's facing east. So this one will face north. And it comes up. Oh, let's find out why that comes up. We need to take a hole out there. You can't really tell what I'm doing there, but essentially I'm just drawing down the not the rounded edge, but the inside rounded edge. I don't know what you'd call that. I tend to call them incorns, but that's just my own terminology. And let's get rid of, nope, not that one. Yep, that one. And let's put you there. Oh, no, there. Yeah. And then that one behind it. Let's do a quick time check. 5:30. We're on our last half an hour. So we'll be wrapping these things up soon. I've got my stairs in. I need this room to be doing something still. Let's make some entrances first. Maybe this could be like, I don't know, whoever sits in this chair. Oh, I just realised that I didn't even finish this rug. What am I doing? Did I get the insides of this? There we go. Just quickly bring that together. It's quite a nice rug. These tables and chairs do seem a bit out of place now. It needs armor stands. You are so right. In fact, I had them right there, didn't I? I could see them. I saw them earlier, and I like to look at them. Whoa. Okay, let's turn overlay back on, because it looks really weird without overlay on. It's green. Why is there green there? Peculiar. We're looking at these statues. Not the statues, these armor sets. Yep, very good. Let's get back to the map. Where would I put these? Don't really have any windows in the edges, so I suppose we could just sort of line the walls, really, can't we? Like so. Maybe to the other side of that one. And then maybe some of you enter as well. There we go. Maybe that's too many. But that's certainly added a bit of colour to the walls. We can probably throw down... Actually, I don't really like the idea of putting candles on the walls. Or torches. I've actually... There's a skull torch I could use. That stands out quite a bit. Yeah, that one. There we go. It's... I mean, this is generally becoming Dark Warrior's Fortress now. Let's just throw those over here. Awesome. It's coming on quite nicely. Cobwebs. We're getting cobwebs now. I don't know if we have great web models laying around. I say that, and I made some for the sepulchre, so maybe those could work. Ah, I say I don't have any good cobwebs, and I was lying, clearly. Oh, they render a bit strange. And I can't really put any into corners. What do we have in type 8s? I think they're a bit bright. Is this Gorok? It isn't Gorok, but I mean, if there's ever an extension to the wilderness, I suppose we could place this up there. If it's ever asked for, or ever desperately needed, definitely could do that. And okay, trying to see how this looks. It's definitely coming along now. So let's do with that room. We need to probably decorate up here. Let's get those assets I just put down here on the upper floor as well. Those will definitely help bring out. Again, I don't want to put a torch on a wall with a window on it like that. Actually, saying that actually works. These are very low windows. Yeah. Any other window, I know would have made sense. Yeah, I'm going to put them to the side either way, just so it doesn't get too messy. And let's have these on all these corners over here as well. In fact, let's just have them on the corners, like so. That makes them a bit more, makes it a bit nicer. That's looking good. We'll come to that floor later. We need something to go in these corners. Maybe that's where the food is. So let's put some tables over there. Just some little round tables. Do we have a small round table? Ah, perfect. Let me put it in there like that. Yep, that fits a bit nicer. And then I can even put some crates behind it. It gives it a bit more of a lived-in look. And so, and a barrel. Nope, that's not a barrel. That's a barrel. Gotta get those barrels in there. See, that gives it. Also from the outside as well. If you're looking through the windows, actually looks like there's stuff in there. And now, just to quickly populate those tables with something, let's just. What were they going to be eating? Everyone here seems pretty happy, so let's give them some lobsters. I mean, pretty happy, pretty rich. You know, rich people eat lobsters, that's what I'm going for. Maybe not a lobster on every table. That's not a table, that's a staircase over there. Maybe mix that with some tuna. The the other thing that rich people like to eat, yeah, tuna. And let's throw a candle on the table as well, because I want to set the mood. And over there we go. What's everyone saying? Beer, oh my god, yeah, obviously. I mean, this person's having a candle, they're sharing a candle actually, these people are sharing a beer, and these guys are sharing a lobster. Unfortunately, I can't really control it much further than that. I can't move the objects quite as much. If I'd made like unique tables with the assets on them, obviously that would make a lot more sense, because they'd have like a plate each with some food, and maybe a drink. But just gotta make do with what we got now. So I'm just gonna throw some beers on the table for them to share. Awesome. And back to the repository of good ideas. Come on, chat, you can do it. Add kegs of beer. Sort of the same as yeah. Or barrels with a tap. In fact, I saw one of those earlier, didn't I? It was the Shazian one. Is it Shazian? Barrel tap. There we go. Oh, actually a dark barrel. Oh, that's why I didn't use them, wasn't it? I see now. Where should I put these? Put one by the food table probably would be a good idea. Yeah. Oh, am I on type 9? I'm not on type 9. But I can mix it up by using a type 9 over here. So that just gives it a slight angle. Like so. Sweet. So we have a place to get the food and a place to get the drink. And we're looking quite decorated. And we have 20 minutes to go, which should be enough to just sort of, you know, spend a few more minutes decorating this area. Fix armor stand. Fix armor stand. Oh, did I mess one up?
did I... I should just have you guys watch me do work more often. You can correct me before I make the mistakes. Well, as I make the mistakes even. What are you designing? I'm working on just a nice little collaborative design stream where we're just making a little environment, taking saved, thank you, taking some comments from the chat and just sort of, you know, applying them, you know, having a nice relaxing time with the map editor. Essentially, yeah, we started the stream with some straw polls, just to decide our direction. The decision was an Arctic wilderness. The structure was a fort, and then the characters are Zamrakian. Hopefully that's come across here. I did see someone say some banners, and I did look for some banners, but I didn't look very long. So let's find some different types of banners. That is the... No, there's John's banner. We don't need John's banner. I suppose I could just put some Zamorak flags down. I mean, no one's going to be able to take them. But that wouldn't be a good idea, because these, I believe, are the Castle Wars ones. But they do add... Oh, they do look quite nice. I mean, they're very simple, aren't they? They're just a Zamorak symbol on a red flag. Let's put a few more out here as well. Yeah, Zami statue. Someone said that earlier. I could put a specific Zamorak statue down. I know there is one. Major Arena, that's the one. That's what I'm thinking of. It's a 2x1. Oh, we could put that in between the throne. Of course, it's a 2x1. That's... What? Okay. That's a bit dwarfed. I wonder if it's like that, usually. Let's find out. Where would that be? Give me a second, I gotta change to a different map square, and I have no idea which one to, so I'm just sort of searching for it aimlessly. That might take too long, actually. What the good... I mean, we don't necessarily need Zamorak statues, right? We could just go with some knights. I suppose they might look a bit too much like the oh, actually the sleep one. Ah, it's a different colour though. But that sleep one is did I even call it that? Do I have sleep open still? Oh, I told it to go away, didn't I? Ah, that's a shame. Statue. Let's go back to looking for statues. Okay, got a suggestion there. So, statues below... Ah, so statues as entrances. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's quite cool actually. Gives a nice verticality to it. And then the statues, which we're going to replace with these. We still want those torches though. Someone's come in the room. I told them not to. Oh well. I don't know what they were asking me. He showed me something. I couldn't really see what it was. Oh, I've mapped down... How have I mapped that down? Did I replace Bob with a fishing spot without realising it? Oh well. Bob must have escaped. I have to delete double. We're gonna push... Yeah, we're gonna get rid of those. I'm gonna replace this with statues, and let's find a good statue. It's gonna be 1x1, and it's gotta fit the style. What's the chat saying? Ooh, I don't really have any reddish evergreens, but that would look cool. Antisocial much. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I suppose. Bob the cat statue from Bethel. Ooh, one was Zamorak. That's a good shout. But I won't let that distract me. We're looking for... Ooh, someone's asked for the brambles outside Dark Wizard's Tower. That is... Oh, actually, is there any statues here? I know they have some gargoyles. Yeah, not really helpful. But yeah, these assets are quite nice, actually. I remember I used these for the Easter chicken's nest. I took off the spikes. It worked out quite nicely. those are definitely evil looking assets as well, so let's chuck them down. So find the smaller versions actually, because they might take too much of the... Oh, I put 2 down. That's quite cool. I probably put them like sideways on, so it sort of gives the idea that the sort of bushes have grown around here. That's cool. And one there as well. Go in the other direction. Sweet. That looks cool. I like that. Ah, you're right. I've not made any broken walls. That would definitely add character. So let's. I'll show you what the wall. So what I'm going to have to do here, I'm going to take out a section at an angle, like so. It wouldn't be very good fortification if it's got a hole in it. Yeah, it'd be fine. In fact, I won't do a complete one. I'll just do like some damage. So let's get the crumbles. The crumble left, that should do the job if I put it on the right. I suppose that sort of tells me exactly which way they wanted me to map it, probably on the inside of the tile, not the outside. Okay, cool, so we got like a little break in there. Obviously it doesn't match the floor above, so let's apply that now. Let's remove them 2 and them 2, and let's create a diagonal piece here and there. Knock out that middle bit. Obviously the floor's looking pretty thin here, and I have an asset for that I made for Dragon Slayer 2 in Ungal, which should help me figure out where that asset is. It's not there. Oh no, wait. There it is. It's one of these fall off assets. There we go, the third one. So yeah, as you can see there, that's just a little bit of asset that sort of just pretends that there's a bit of wood sticking out there, and it just gives a bit of depth to that fall off, or to that, yeah, to the edge. So there we got a bit of broken there. We can throw in some rubble. So do we have some wild rubble? We got to have something, right? Oh, we got some roots. I could probably throw those down. There we go. There's some rubble. Where did I see that? A stone pile. So let's just throw that in here, and then get a second one in there as well. Oh, maybe a third actually. There we go. So we've got a slightly broken wall. And now, could this be used as a shortcut? I mean, technically, if we sort of rework these assets a bit more, that could be used as a shortcut, so that could work. Obviously I'd probably angle it in that direction so it's a bit easier to get to, but or even just blow up the wall completely and just be able to run through it might be easier. Yeah, because this place is, I mean, I don't want it to be completely run down, I don't want it to be a completely ruined fortress, but yeah, I'd want a bit of damage to make it seem like it has seen a few battles. Awesome. How are we looking for time? We got last 10 minutes. Let's have a look at what the chat's saying. Could a future stream be mapping fan-made maps? Ooh, that would be cool. Yeah, mapping out a fan-made map. That'd definitely give me some more direction to go in, but it wouldn't be overly collaborative. But if that's what you want to see, then we can certainly look into doing something like that. Wildlife. You're right. There should be some wildlife in there. Let's give ourselves a spider. Just a standard spider for now. Oh, we don't want to creep people out too much. We don't need eek. Spider. Called spider. Who'd have thought? Let's throw a few of those down in here. Maybe in here as well. Maybe up this floor. Maybe what this building is. This room is just a spider room. Clearly, that's what it was all along. We didn't know what it was for, and now we know it's for spiders. Let's throw a few more spiders in there. Rats. Yeah, we need some rats as well. That's a good point. Rats. No, we just need the one rat, don't we? There we go. Let's throw him there. Probably put one in the furnace. Oh, I haven't really done much with the barracks for a while, have I? Maybe I should show the barracks some love in the last few minutes by filling it full of rats. Yeah. What are you telling me? Oh, you're telling me to stand up. I don't have time, mate. There we go. And what are we doing? Well, the sort of bats, I suppose. Let's look at the... Oh, bears. Yeah, that's a good one. I could put some of those outside. And we wouldn't want to go out there then, would we? Let's go throw you over here. And... yeah, I was sort of hoping that I would be able to sort of polish a full map square in 3 hours, but in retrospect, I was maybe pushing it a bit too far. But we have like a nice... we have a fort. We have multiple floors. We have rooms that have been somewhat decorated. It has an evil feel, ish, I suppose. Definitely has a dark feeling. I might just throw down some more grass while we are still here. Let's throw some down there. Build out a bigger area here, maybe. Where's my directional grass going? Where you at? Is it 3? The one I didn't click on? It is. There we go. Let's leave that one there. Let's grab 4. That's very dense grass. So, oh, you can't really see what I'm doing here, but I'm just sort of building out grass here amongst the bushes. And I'm just going to chuck down some just ambient bits here and there. Boop, 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 boop. I would usually put a lot more thought into this, but I'm being a little quicker now that I only have 10 minutes left. Okay, let's check out 3 more around here as well. Just to give some more definition. Sweet, so we get a nice place here. I will check the chat again. Ooh, a rowboat on a small pier. That would be nice. How quick can I make a small pier? That's the real question. So a pier is pretty much the same concept as a bridge. So I'm going to start on the floor above. This I want it to be decking, so I'm going to use an invisible overlay. I don't want to breathe over. Jesus, leave me alone. I'm going to go with invisible brown because that is, or invisible mud even, because that is generally the colour of decking. We want that to be roughly that big. I need what am I looking for? Let's go with pier. Just find a nice pier asset, brutal pier. Some. How do they look? Yeah, that looks nice. Let's get them all the right way. So as you can see here, because it's at an angle, this piece is a bit higher than that one because the floor below is telling it should be. So we're going to make the floor below a little bit easier to use for me. I can run over a little bit, to be fair. If I run over building this pier, so be it. I just realised that, I mean, I'm the only really person here, so I don't really have to slow anyone else down, do I? Or have anyone else to go back to work. Like that. So I'm just landing this land out, so it's a bit more, a bit easier to work with. Oh, it hasn't caused too much of a problem as well. I just want to, yeah, flatten that, but I've actually made it too small. So again, earlier, much like I needed to make it reach the floor, I'm just going to go over here and select that height over there, apply it to the beginning of it. Oh, I might need to lower this one down a bit as well. So if I grab that, was that better? Oh, that's lowering them both. I don't want to do that. Actually, saying that, this pier isn't, so as you can see here, they've not skewed, so let's actually get a pier that's actually going to skew for me. So this has, I'll just actually tell you whether it's skewing or not. Is this one skewing? No, I don't think the brutal pier at all skews, so let's find a different pier. There's quite a few different peer assets to look from, and I instantly click back on them ones. This one's going to be a bit brighter, but they do hill skew. So now you can see what I mean. So when they skew, they're going to when they've got the hill skew, option turned on, they actually try and abide by the terrain instead of just moving up and down without any sort of distortion. As you can see here, these aren't distorting at all. Well, these ones are. So it's not the best colour. I'd actually prefer the brutal colour, but that does look a bit nicer. And now I can grab some posts to hold that up. Post might be too tall. Oh no, that is literally the perfect size. Let's go back to top down, because it's hard to actually do things at an angle like that when you're working in multiple floors. Something like that. Actually, these aren't actually square, are they? Let's go with the goblin ones again. The ones I used earlier. What ones did I use earlier? Yeah, that one. Oh, are they the right size though? They might be too tall. They are slightly too tall. I suppose I could map them on the outside. That would solve that problem. Yeah, perfect. I don't know how we're going to reach the pier. In fact, yeah, I need to drop this down anyway, don't I? So let's go back into height mapping mode on floor 2 and go back into 3D view, and let's just throw this guy down a little bit. So I'm going to use my decrease tool, and that seems like a good value to use. I'm just going to apply that to the rest. Awesome. Yeah, we're a bit close to the river now, so now if I go to this floor, throw down a boat, I said I'd take a break halfway through this to get walking around, and didn't, and now my back's suffering for it. So yeah, don't do like I do, and listen when things tell you to stand up. Boat. I just want a small boat. That's quite a cool boat. Yeah, it's Viking. Here we go. We've got our Viking themes. Or our Fremnik themes even. Maybe some Fremniks are visiting. They're literally called Vikings, aren't they? Yeah. There we go. There we go. They've got some Viking visitors. Maybe that's who they're fighting with, and they're retreating. Who knows? And let's get some crates. Can't have too many crates in the game. What's the chat saying? Clearly they're fighting spiders. Oh yeah. Those spiders are a problem. In fact, those spiders, they also need some boxes, because every room needs boxes. Maybe not quite so many. It says not so quite so many, and then they add more. And some barrels. In fact, there's too many spiders here. There we go. Cool. That dock actually adds quite a lot. That's quite nice. And I actually managed to build it in time as well. I didn't think I'd do that. That's rapid dock building, that is. Let's go back to the chat. What are we saying? Is this the rune crafting guild? No, it would wouldn't make a very good rune crafting guild. There's not much rune crafting to be done here. Just spiders, rats, and Zamarakians at the moment. Put some fires down. Oh yeah, we could do like a little breakout area down here. Maybe get a little campfire going. Maybe some guards are taking it easy. Put it down here outside the barracks. Oh, actually, maybe it's a bit too close to the barracks. Maybe they're down here. Discussing about this damage wall. If that's not, just go with the standard campfire. Oh, it's because I put campfire in instead of just fire. Yeah, this is even less to look at now. or even more to look at even. Let me just find some nice fire. Oh, okay. Has it got the logs? It has got the logs. Perfect. There we go. Can't really see it though. The floor is sort of hiding it. Can we make that a bit brighter? Yeah, that'll do. A little fire there. Let's get like a little seat, maybe like a log. That's a big log. That's quite a big one as well. Maybe they're up against the wall for that one. Yeah, that looks a bit nicer. And then a smaller one for the edge. Perfect. I can't unfortunately put people in those seats. Unfortunately, to get someone sitting down, you have to actually build the seat into their model and their config. And I won't be doing that. Let's just decorate this area a bit more with some scenery. Throw down some grass. As we are about to call into this, as we've approached 6, but we still have time to put down a few more crates and barrels. Like so. There you go. Made a little area there for the guards. Actually, let's put some of those warriors down here, so it actually looks like it's in use. Sweet. And then put those in there as well. And actually, I just realised this barracks is completely crateless. And we can't be having that now. That's crate. And that's crate. And the barrel. Where'd the barrel go? Awesome. I think that is where I will call an end to this. So I'm not going to just call it straight up. We'll spend a few minutes just looking at what we got. I'm going to look at the chat. I'm going to roll my shoulders. I'm going to take a drink. No need to shout. Walk around it. I can't walk around it, unfortunately. I'd have to pack and submit and do all that nice jazz, and I've not really set any of that up. I've not even named it something that I should have named it. It's currently just called temp_wild. So I can get it in game, tonight, and yeah, show everyone a picture of it tomorrow, or today. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yes, spears. I don't know what that means. Let's actually look at this in its entirety. So I'm just going to drag this out over here. Can you see this window? Oh, it's floating now, so you probably won't be able to see it. Should have thought that through, really, shouldn't I? Yep, you can't see because it's floating. Nice stream delay. Okay, cool. Let's just make it really big then. Like, come on. There we go. There we go. Actually, saying that, when you make it more big, when you make it bigger, it just more big. It kind of just throws out the field of view. It doesn't really look that good, but it's a little bit nice to look at for the stream. So that'll do for now. So here's what we've built today in just roughly 3 hours. I'd say a bit less than 3 hours because obviously doing lots of talking and looking at the chat. So we have ourselves a fort in this sort of wild Arctic region. We have a mountain in the background. Would have been nice to add a bit more detail up there, but you can always come back to that in the future if we ever feel the need to. I was thinking like a small little fence as well, a bit like the area around the mountain camp for the Mountain Daughter quest. That'd be quite cool. So we've got our main fort here. We have a bunch of evil characters outside. We have lots of blood, lots of skeletons, so obviously a war has been fought here at some point. We have our fort, and then we have our main buildings. So we have the barracks with their rats. No crates upstairs. That's a bit disappointing, but we can live with that. Now we got the furnace and the smith's room, I suppose. In fact, let's put a smith down. One last thing. I can't really see any of my searches now. This guy, let's put him in. Yeah, perfect. He looks just like the guy who'd be here, although he's not quite got enough red on him. Then we have the barracks, and then we have our main banquet hall, where we get a gallery above that, and then of course our spider room. Every nice fort needs a spider room. So, there we have it. hopefully you've all enjoyed the design stream today. I have. This has been great fun. Something I really like doing is just sort of showing to the players how sort of the environments are built and constructed, and my thought processes as I go along. Although I think my thought processes are a bit different when I've got thousands of people watching. To be expected. Awesome. I'm going to stop moving around so erratically now and just sort of leave it like that. I think without the roof, I mean, it looks nicer with obviously the full buildings in, but it's also nice to see what's inside the buildings. Awesome. Let's have a look at the chat. We should do this every month. Ah, that'd be nice. I think logistically it might be a bit easier now that we are working from home, that I could actually do this outside of my my main hours. It might be a bit easier to fit it in, and to be fair, I quite like doing this sort of thing, so doing it outside of my work hours isn't so bad. Plus it might make it a bit easier for the Americans to partake. I don't have to be quite so early for them. Oh yeah, I never actually did put those statues there, did I? That's how easily distracted I get. I've sort of completely destroyed my UI now, so trying to find some statues to put down might be difficult. I could just put down the ones first on the list, which were the 1v1 PvP arena, yeah, that ones, which do not fit at all. Yeah, let's get rid of that guy. I suppose it's maybe the grey box statues. No, let's not get those up. Okay, let's just leave it at that. We can add more to it in the future, but it's probably good if I sign off before I start getting into it too much. Use the Bob the Cat statue. Put a Jad in to end. I mean, you know what? Okay. Let's do that. Is it TZ or is it Inferno Jad? I mean, that's not quite the one I wanted, but it is technically Jad. Maybe that's what's No, let's find the normal one. What would it be called? Is it Zar? There we go. Ah, I've been told to try Lord Magma. I don't know if the... No, I think that was the name of the model, not the name of the config. I think I was close with Zar then. We got... Oh, there we go. We got the big boy. There, no, not biggest boy. Ah, boss. Probably a good place to start, right? Let's put him outside the front. There we go. Knock knock, who's there? It's Jad. There we go, that's how we're ending. Oh, Corp would look perfect there. Corp would look quite nice, but I feel like the red of Jad does actually brings out the highlights in the other ones. In fact, it just shows that I didn't put nearly enough flags on this building. Amazing. Leave it there. Yeah, just as you come across, you just get rained upon. Thanks, Modlenny. That has got me the. There's a slight delay, but yeah, we've got the Lord Magma. The name behind the reason behind that name, Lord Magma, is I think that was the model name of Jad, Lord Magmus. I don't know if that was like a working title or if it was just what the artist had decided that that's what this guy was. He was the Lord of Magmus, but no, I suppose we'll never know. Awesome. Thank you all for joining me. I'm going to actually figure out how to use this again. Let's transition back to here. So it's just my face. And that looks fantastic. So, thank you all for joining me. That was the first attempt at my design stream for my room. Looks like it's going quite well. Hopefully we can do some more of these in the future. And yeah, stay safe everyone, and yeah, thank you all for joining me here, and that is the end. So yeah, thank you.